Achoo! It's Young Sneezy, baby. Throw gang, we are joined by the chief of the chair, the downtown Don Dada. He don't need Molly because he already rolling. He stay blessed because he can't stop sneezing. Call him Illmatic because he puts Queens on the cover. Must be Ken because he found his Barbie. He puts the drip in quadriplegic. Money like his home island. Long. His East rancid because he molded the culture. Yeah, he got a disability. Disability's nuts. The editor Emirati, the operations overlord. Rip the sold out the plastic, got these brands acting new. Running Escape magazine, yeah, he the chairman of the board. Editor of Sneeze magazine, Bradley Carbone. Bradley, how the hell are you?
I am doing well, thank you. That's wonderful.
The self-proclaimed Larry Flint of streetwear.
Yeah, pretty good.
Is that
straight from the bio?
James and I were debating whether that's in reference to your job in publishing or the wheelchair or both.
I think it's both, right?
Okay, yeah.
Larry Flynn is the gold wheelchair. I almost got the gold wheelchair in the last re-up.
How often are you like bumping up the model?
You're supposed to do it every 5 years, but like I go hard. So it's for me, it's more like 2 or 3 years.
Damn,
Is wheelchair technology moving at the pace of like Tesla now?
It was moving, and then COVID like messed everything up.
you want the self-driving joint.
Yeah, where you just sit.
How much is a wheelchair? Top of the line.
This wheelchair is between 40 and 50K.
Jesus
Damn.
Christ, dude.
Yeah.
Do you pimp it out with like spinners or rims or like accessories? You got the V-Lone fucking rims on
I
it?
know.
V-Lone 4Gs
We gotta
on
do
it.
the rims. But basically, yeah, like you can get a million things on it.
Yeah.
But I strip it down as limited as possible.
Oh, so it's like utility.
Yeah. Well,
It's
you
like-
want it to be like tight. It's New York,
Yeah.
right? You wear black.
Oh, right.
You won't.
Right.
You don't want the like iPad holder
No.
coming up the front.
With the tripod?
You know, where you're like clipping the walls trying to get into
Sure.
the event with the.
It's like the
with
Batmobile in The Batman.
Yeah.
Yes.
But this one runs over rats? Is that what I read that story?
Yeah, it's a different podcast, but yes.
Oh, well, that podcast doesn't matter.
It's the chic Cadillac of wheelchairs. That's what I'm
Exactly.
getting from this.
But
Bradley.
there is a gold one.
Oh, yeah?
And there was like a very serious discussion about doing the gold one, but it's hard, you know, because then you gotta. There's
That's
a lot.
some look at me shit, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And every day you gotta like go against the gold, which I'm getting more into recently.
Yeah.
Yeah, gold watch, gold chain. You know,
Gold wheelchair. Yeah, exactly.
it's
Next
on.
up.
the literal throne.
But I think Larry Flint actually made the chair custom,
I'm sure
the
he
gold
did.
wheelchair.
And is it like gold plated, or the one you would get? Is it gold plated, or is it? It's not solid gold.
No,
I
it's
think if it
so
was
heavy.
solid gold, it would probably
It wouldn't move.
melt. It would also like be all soft. So you hit the curb and it gets kind of sideways out of whack.
Damn. All right.
Well, Bradley, thank you for hosting us in your beautiful crib. The
Thank you for coming.
Oh, of course, man. The first thing we want, this is a long time coming, by the way. We're super excited to have you on the show, finally. The first thing we want to do is a little fit check for you, sir.
Yeah.
Do you want to start top down or bottom up?
Cop style.
You want to go cop style?
No,
or-
I think we'll go. But I was thinking about like the training day cop style. If like Denzel goes like bottom up or top down.
Ooh, he might go chain first.
Yeah.
You know?
We could go chains first.
Okay, sure. There we go. Denzel style.
What are the chains?
Just right to the mid.
Yeah.
straight to mid.
Yeah, what are the gold chains that you mentioned?
The chains are all, unfortunately, like the chains come from losses, like the constant memory.
Oh.
Right? So I got my mom, I got my kid, and now I got Spanto.
Damn, bro.
So it's a little heavy to kick it off, but like, you know, that's part of this
Dude,
stuff
chain
too, right?
heavy, literally, man.
Everything is, yeah, hopefully, like for
Everything
now,
heavy.
I can stick to 3 and like,
Yeah.
let's
Well,
keep it tight.
It's all dick jokes from here on out for the next
Yeah,
hour and a half.
It's a fucking bummer,
Sorry to
dude.
like come in hard, but
No,
like,
it's all good, bro.
I had this one chain which was done by this guy Lionel Thundercloud who did all of Spanto's jewelry.
That guy's a fire name.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
And
mean
fire
it's super
clientele.
legit and very real.
Is he an indigenous person, hence Thundercloud, or?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
So he's based in Marina Del Rey, and he uses all of the historical techniques.
Oh, shit.
So they make the molds with the volcanic ash. You pour the silver, you know, and you make the jewelry, and then he sources like rare beads that like have all kind of meaning, right?
Nice.
So I have this chain that's it's Mediterranean sea coral, which is the chains that they did for Spanto's Sadie's fit from last year. And then the fits that they eventually buried him in are all kind of these materials.
Wow.
So Lionel is like a very unique guy, and he's indigenous, making indigenous jewelry that looks, or it's basically the Goros jewelry, right? So like Goros got super hot, making all this native stuff. And this is a conversation that we had. It's like, well, why can't we make the native stuff tight?
natives.
Here on stolen land versus in Japan.
For
real.
natives by natives.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't claim to know the Goros like heritage that well, right? But the rumor is that he came, he studied with the Lakota tribe, and that's how.
Oh, really?
That's like the legit check and why it's okay.
Okay. Not a
guess.
vulture.
He's valid. He's valid on the reservation.
Yeah, he checked in with the chief, dude.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you have to.
yeah, I guess.
It's real. But then it was kind of this discussion of like, who's making this stuff and how can we get the real stuff into popular culture?
And so Spanto found this guy Lionel, or just knew him
Yes.
through like
as
the
far as
fucking
I
LA?
know, that's how it happened.
Got it.
You know, but I think that everybody's kind of been connecting through,
Yeah.
and for me, it's very interesting. I'm obviously white. I'm kind of from the class that is not what's up right now, right? Straight,
you
white,
male ass motherfucker.
came from a stable family, like all the things that are not
Yeah.
cool right now.
I think your hometown is actually named after a displaced indigenous tribe. No.
Yes, yes.
Tough scene.
But I
mean,
kind of
mine
got to
too.
meet a lot of these people, and obviously some like very unique, very wonderful guys that I've met through Spanto, West Coast kind of thing. But it's also kind of like, how do we evolve my culture is not your costume
Sure.
into like what's real, and like how can this stuff get out? Because I think because of that tagline got so hardcore that now people are gun shy to wear anything
Right.
indigenous related.
But we still
Right.
gotta pay these people for their craft.
Yeah.
Sure.
Put
But
money in
al-
the right pockets.
Yeah, and also like if these people are making it and it's sick, how do we bridge the gap and make it okay?
Right.
Right.
Like sick wovens,
I mean, the
blankets,
Levi's collab kind of did
fabrics.
that. I
Yeah.
feel like
Yes.
with like motifs that maybe are true to more indigenous cultures, but are like wearable. If you just love, I don't know, just fire aesthetics.
Fire aesthetics and infographics for Instagram for sure.
Yeah, and also putting it in a place where it's okay.
Yeah.
Right? So like here's somebody that's he's part of mainstream culture, he's part of indigenous culture. And so like let's bridge the gap, bring this in and get it co-signed correctly so it's okay.
Right.
Love that.
And you do check in.
Yeah.
Right? But for that project, he went to the res and he kind of met with everybody and
Cosign.
got it cleared.
I like that.
The music and the dancing was fire. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, for real.
All right, that was a chain acknowledgement. What do you want to do next in the fit
Sorry.
check?
We get sideways right away.
No,
but
no,
that was. Thank
No,
you.
we've never had someone start with the hardware, so I really don't know. It's a mystery.
Yeah,
It's
where
a
do you wanna
choose your own
go?
adventure.
Now
Where
we
would you
start
like
with
to
the
go
bottom,
next?
right?
Okay.
Because
Okay.
kind of one of my defining characteristics is the wheelchair, and that's as close as we get to the ground.
No, true.
Stay
right?
rooted.
So we've already kind of said what that costs. It ranges. But yeah, I got the wheelchair. It's Permobile F5, hyper technical.
You know how like when kids do on TikTok do fit checks now, and it's all about what it costs, which I personally don't like. You could fucking outflex anybody when it comes to just like the cost of the fit, where you're just like, yeah, 50K. I'm sitting
Yeah.
on 50K right now.
Just to get out of bed.
Yeah.
Just the foundation to get
Yeah.
it started, dude. 50 racks out the door.
Yeah.
Literally.
And so it's Permobile, which is really bad if you're in a wheelchair because it sounds like permanent mobile. But I think the guy that started, his name is Per.
Oh.
So he's
French?
I think it's Swedish or Norwegian.
Oh, fire.
And
So-
so he's just some genius, and he called it Permobile after himself. But then in English, it doesn't really translate
Yeah.
very well.
Yeah. But you got the sleek Scandinavian chicness.
Yeah. And so I kind of wear the same thing every day. So like my fit checks are pretty
You're
straightforward.
a uniform dresser.
Well,
Yeah.
these sneakers are.
Yeah, let's talk about
They
it.
feel special
So started with
occasion-y.
sneakers.
I knew right away, baby.
These are Adidas RAF 2012.
This was like right when you started at Adidas, right?
Yeah, halfway through. So maybe
Okay.
2012, 2013.
Yeah. He's had the streets in a motherfucking headlock with the fashion boys, dude.
Yeah, it
Half
was
of the
crazy.
Grailed office at the time was fucking rocking these, dude.
I still have a few pairs, and I found these like when I was doing the Throwing Fits Bazaar.
Oh,
I went
shit.
through all my stuff, and these were in perfect shape. And I was like, you know what? It's great. So we'll get through Fashion Week, and we put them back into storage and see when they come back out
And these are
again.
the best colorway.
Yeah, absolutely.
ASAP
Very
Rocky
good.
approved, I believe.
Yes.
Socks?
Well, basically, the shoes. They made these shoes because Raf couldn't figure out how to make shoes at the time.
Like sneakers.
Well, he'd
Yeah.
been making sneakers, but the thing always was like if anyone was reselling like Raf Simons like proper sneakers, they like fall apart like right away.
That's what
They
happened.
were trash.
So he made these shoes are called this line was called As We Go.
Yeah.
So he made a sneaker that was a Raf sneaker first.
Yeah.
But they were
And it sucked.
charging upwards of $600-700 and they were falling apart.
And which back in the day, back in 2012, was a lot of money.
Yeah.
Wild. Yeah.
Insane.
Also because the reseller market was much more quiet. So it wasn't, you bought shoes when they came out. And if you really, really had to get them, you paid for it.
And fashion sneakers were kind of just revving up at the time.
And they weren't really approved either.
No.
Really?
Yeah.
They sucked. Except
Yeah,
for
and
Rick's.
it was just like you didn't, that was probably right at the bridge, I think.
The Ralph Simmons, Rick Owens, usually what I'm dressed in kind of.
Y3 Yoji
Yeah,
was like
Y3 was
the big one. But yeah, I feel like this actually was also kind of like the harbinger of like where we are now.
So we have you to blame. You and Raph and Adidas.
Yeah.
Thanks for nothing,
But that
bro.
was a great time, right? Because I went on a little bit earlier, right when Y3 was picking up speed. Then we did Raph, we did Rick. You know, that was real stuff.
Yeah.
So anyway, again, like going
pre-Yeezy.
sideways.
Yeah.
All
Right, and then
pre-StockX.
Yeezy kind of drafted off all of that.
course.
That's where that all came from.
I mean, I'm sure Kanye was wearing all that stuff anyway. I know he was a big fucking Y3 guy, I feel like, for a minute there. That and
Yeah.
like Visvim.
And
Anyway.
Rocky was huge too,
Yeah.
right? That's kind of how I
Absolutely.
first met Rocky, letting him into the Y3 sample sale.
Did he spend money or were you just like, pull whatever you want?
It was pretty early, and no one even knew who he was.
Right.
Right? So I knew who he was, and his manager was like, "Oh, can we get him into the sample sale before everybody else?" And I said, "Yeah, sure. You know, I got him." But I had to take him in, and no one in the office knew who he was.
Who's this pretty motherfucker?
Yeah, right?
For real. But he was
a pretty
very
young
humble, very quiet.
Yeah.
Because there was still a lot of that. None of those walls have been broken down yet.
Yeah.
Right? And
That's
there
how he was when we met him too. We
Lawrence and I tried to seat him some Mark McNary, and he's like, "Yo, thanks, young blood," and then gave them immediately to like ASAP Lube.
It for sure went right to all the fucking posse members. I don't know if he wore any McNary ever.
Nope.
Right. Yeah, but he was on it.
Yeah.
He did his
He appreciated
research.
it.
He came to BPMW with yams, and we were like drinking Heinekens or something, or we tried to
Coronas?
offer. I
I
don't
don't know.
remember. It was terrible.
Yeah.
We looked like fucking herbivores.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
But like he was playing the game from the beginning, right?
Yeah.
He knew he could read the room, and that's anyone that knows him now or then. That's one of his true skills, right? He can read the room and adjust the behavior, and that's
Work
why
the
he's
room.
as big as he is.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What
All
about
right, so we got
sock
footwear,
skis?
Socks.
socks. So I obviously have like the disability uniform underneath the clothes.
Okay.
So I wear compression socks like a grandma, and I wear heat tech all the way through because I get cold.
All 365
In the summer, not as much.
in Miami
In Miami, not as much, but you know, it's
Okay.
better to be warm than cold.
for sure.
Okay, that's
So I
fair.
got the heat tech under, compression socks. I have 10 to 20 pairs of these Stone Island nylon pants.
Woo!
These are your dailies.
Yeah. So I wear that
badge
all the
on
time.
or badge off?
Right now I'm badge on.
Okay.
I've had different eras, but
Sure.
right now we're back to badge on.
What
Okay.
dictates whether we're on or off?
I think it's how much exposure I have to it.
Okay.
So when I was working with the family really close, I wore Stone Island almost every single day. So a lot of the badges came off because it came a little bit repetitive.
Sure. Shout out the Rivettis, dude. The
Yes.
repetitive Rivettis.
Yeah. But then now that I'm not in the day to day, now it's badge on because part of it's, you know, I love the brand, it's the flex, and then also just letting people know that that's what's up.
Yeah.
The Rivettis, the vape they smoke, they're almost as like large and complex as your wheelchair.
Yeah.
Like, they're probably similarly
That family is
configured.
rigged the fuck up. Dude.
Not messing around.
No, they love to vape, dude.
They affect the weather in northern Italy whenever they're blowing
The
clouds.
family that vapes together stays together, dude. We know.
The glycerin hand grenade.
No, it is. It is absurd.
with their portable
great.
USB fucking
Yeah.
charging pack,
It's
it's like they're
amazing.
ready for war.
Yeah, dude.
It's like we're here to get work done, and we're not going to get slowed down by an empty vape.
Exactly.
All right, moving on
So
up.
Stone Island pants almost every day.
Are these black? Are they all the same color? Or do you have
These
different
are
colors?
actually deep navy. So
And
that's why
are
it's
all
kind of
20
cool.
deep navy.
No, most of them are black.
Okay.
And then I always dip into the pop colors, but those only come out, you know. So today I did navy because I figured we'd do a little bit of a fit rather than all black, which is every other day. It looks black, but it's navy.
Right.
Uniqlo cashmere sweater, same thing, uniform,
How many of these do you own?
at least 20.
Damn.
They're all navy and black.
You're an easy
Been
guy to
doing
shop for the holidays, dude.
Yeah. But I just kind of watch the calendar. And when the cashmere sweaters come up, I buy them for the season.
Right.
And then I have the ones for, you know, traveling when I get thrown around and the ones when I have to get dressed up for you guys.
So is it mostly uniform
one's pretty
except
fresh.
for the sneakers? Like, is that what changes every day?
Even the sneakers are typically uniform, all black.
Okay.
So like I try to get each of the sneakers in all black. So that way I've got them, right? So triple black Air Force Ones, triple black Stan Smiths. When Comme des Garçons does the all blacks, I buy that. So it's just like all black sneakers all the time. And then kind of the highlight sneakers. So I have these. I have the Pro Sale Air Force Ones. You know, so it's like I have a few. And then at my dad's basement is where everything else is.
Is that just like an archive of streetwear history?
It is. I mean, some of the really good stuff has been sold or gifted,
Right.
and he wants me to get it out of there every time I see him. But there's a lot of good stuff down there.
All right.
Does he wear any of that shit? Does he ever like pull out some fucking freshies?
I think it's like a size and a half too big. So he's just confused about why would a guy have so many pairs of sneakers.
grown-ass man.
You never catch Pops the Adidas Jeremy Scott teddy bears?
The wings is really yeah. The wings off the back.
Yeah, he's like, yo, I felt like ASAP Rocky. I felt like a pretty motherfucker
Truly.
today.
Yeah.
All right.
So I got thrown in sneakers very hard, obviously, because we have a similar heritage. Maybe we'll talk about it, lineage.
No, we're not talking.
We're not
Our
talking about
complex
that.
pedigree, no pun intended. No.
Yeah.
We'll talk about Adidas and everything else, but
The good shit, dude.
is that
Okay.
a complete fit check? What else?
What else I have?
Any other
The
jewels?
watch is in the safe.
Well, gold watch. You
Gold
mentioned.
watch,
Can you give us
always.
some more information? Is it
I have the
Rolly?
birth year Prezi.
Woo!
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, dude.
That barber got me for my 40th birthday. So I'm old.
Your Barbie,
Yes.
the Barbie tier Ken.
Yeah. So that watch is crazy because it was like truly, truly dead stock. Never, ever opened.
Box, papers, everything.
Everything. So like
Sick.
even the clasp is like tight. Like it's hard to bend the clasp because it's literally brand new.
How often does it come out the safe and onto the wristicle?
Once a month.
Okay.
That's a very special
Yeah.
get.
Date night. That's date night.
Yeah, no, very special. The guys that make it happen.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I see.
They're
I get
the finders.
it. Okay.
So they went and got
Yeah.
something that's very hard to get.
All right.
Appreciate you not wearing it for us, dude. Hear you loud and clear.
all
on
We
right.
that.
get the Raph Simmons though. The Oswego's and
You know, but you have to
All
be
right.
careful. You got to balance. You know.
Yeah,
the
yeah.
deep navy pants.
Yeah, you
I'm
know.
good.
I
You know
thought
what?
about it.
Yeah.
But-
You know, it might get fucking nasty up in here. You don't want the wrist piece to get caught up in that. But
And also the wrist pieces for a specific, you know, either you're going out to specific parties in New York,
Right.
or you're in Miami.
True.
Because in Miami you wear t-shirts, right? So
You gotta
that's
dress
what
up.
those guys down there have perfected, and maybe we'll get into this later too. But like, how do you wear a t-shirt always, right? And
By looking like shit, always.
yeah,
getting a
but
BBL.
Yeah.
you wear a expensive watch
Well,
and you wear a
absolutely,
chain,
dude.
and then
Yeah.
your t-shirt all of a sudden you can go
Yeah.
to
some
any of the New
gauche
York
ass-
restaurants that they have down there.
Yeah.
Pull up
And
in a gauche car.
And you can pull up a cool picture of an ape on your phone to show off as well. That
Is
always
Miami
helps.
still fucking NFT'd out like that?
A lot of people down there wish it was.
They're now all working at Starbucks.
I wish the bubble hadn't burst. All right.
There's like 99% of NFTs now have zero value.
Yeah, true.
Correct. I believe that is a complete fit check,
Yeah,
right?
because the heat tech that's the lowest layer. So we got the
Tech is
panties.
how we go all in. Yeah, I think that's what we got. We got the wheelchair. We got everything. Yeah. You know,
right.
I'm simple.
All right, let's get into
Money.
meat
Although
and
I do have 100 jackets in there.
Gotta stay warm. Let's get into meat and potatoes of the
Yeah.
only podcast that matters. Bradley Carbone, interesting last name, as a rigatoni nepo baby. Do you get special treatment at the Carbone restaurant?
I
Does Mario hook it
sometimes
up?
get, if I'm not on the list, sometimes I get in as Mario.
Do you guys have any? I mean, how like in terms of it's like Italian families, like
Was
how,
Nona a cousin of hers? Nona,
Yeah,
like
is Carbone like a Smith situation over there, or are you guys related?
We're not related, and we've actually never really sat down, and we've met in passing.
Okay.
I've also been to the restaurant.
thoughts? What's your order there?
Yeah,
I like Carbone.
same.
My wife does not.
She's Italian.
She won't
People
go.
at home.
Oh, she won't go. She refuses.
Yeah.
Is it like bastardizing like her culture? Is that what it is?
My culture is not your costume.
My culture is not your cuisine.
She's got to do a rigatoni acknowledgement when she goes there.
This garlic bread was baked on stolen land.
It's a theme park.
Yeah,
right?
sure.
And that's
But
why
theme parks are fun.
men of a certain age love Carbone.
Yeah.
because you feel like you're in Goodfellas, and it's like a ride.
This is Drake in the back on the rotary phone, literally. Like it's complete cosplaying as a fucking good fella, right?
Right, but I think their ingredients are good.
Yeah.
But it's American Italian.
Yeah.
Right, and I grew up on Long Island, and that's what Italian food is.
Sure.
What's your
Right.
go-to Italian? What's your favorite Italian restaurant in New York? I know you already said it on the
Yeah,
IG
you
show.
already did it.
And
What?
I love these guys, but Il Posto Accanto is the spot.
Yeah.
And I don't want to overly blow it up. So I know you have a lot of followers, but whatever, I'll see you there.
Everyone don't go.
Yeah. Cover your ears.
Yeah.
I've been to Carbone in New York. I go more often in Miami, probably.
The one in Miami, I was not really a fan of because it doesn't have the vibe in New York.
But it's easier to get into,
Right.
right? That's
Yeah.
a trade-off.
It's just bigger.
yeah.
Yeah, but they have the membership thing now, right? Where
I've no idea.
Really?
It's like a social club
a
element.
couple years ago, they were like, everybody wants to get into these restaurants. Let's sell a membership. So you pay.
Let's gatekeep ourselves.
Jesus.
You pay an X amount of money, and then you can get reservations.
Oh, it's like Resi Platinum or some shit, right?
Yeah.
Here's
It's
the
not
privilege
cheap.
of being able to spend $1,000 to eat veal parmesan
For
on
real.
a bone.
Yeah, and it's worked out great because now they're going to do their global expansion.
Yeah.
So also
Vegas.
Miami, all those guys have the license. So I just call up if we want to go. Someone with the license comes with you, and then we're good.
Hit
All
up,
right.
call on the bat phone.
All right, well, now that we got your Nepo baby credentials out the way, what do you do? Because you're kind of like the guy behind the guy, like, you know, who's always like operating and moving the levers. But if you had to break it down, what do you do?
Power stays in the shadows, right?
Ooh.
Fucking speaking of Batman,
Although like
goddamn.
not overly claiming because I'm not there yet, but I'm working on it.
You
right?
want to be totally removed and in the shadows, if you could.
I think it's the best way to be sustainable.
To not be a face or a
Financially?
name.
Both. And also long term, right?
Well, because a
if
brand
you're-
will lose its coolness or its trendiness, right? But if you're not out there like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're not in the light, people can't take you down.
Woo,
That's
bars.
true.
Right.
Yeah.
So
So you just operate in the shadows.
You don't, because a lot of people
think
flex
so.
the credentials, even if they're like helping out just the littlest bit. This is the complete opposite of that kind of like
right.
clout chasing.
That's also how you get trust, right? And that's kind of what I guess I've been in New York for 20 years, right? And I came in not knowing I didn't know the hierarchy, so I had to study it, right? Who is who? How do they fit? How does it ladder up? And like, who do you respect? But you can't just come in blazing. What's up? Let's be friends. You know, it doesn't.
a lot of people try.
Right.
So who's on top right now? Who's number one?
In New York,
Yeah.
Bradley Carbone's New York Streetwear Power Rankings.
Who's El Capo?
I mean, there was only 49 names in the
Oh, yeah.
New York mag, so I don't know who got
right.
cut.
I didn't recognize a single name, maybe one.
Well, those are all like in the shadows, folks. No.
I mean, that's why it's kind of interesting, right? That came out 2 days ago or whatever.
Right.
Yeah. I didn't read it because my
There's one fashion guy. What's his name? Carlos. I can't pronounce his last name, but he's like works for ID Magazine.
our free article limit had run out, so
Yeah.
we didn't read it.
I might have it here.
We're not powerful enough to subscribe to media.
Speaking of incognito mode, there's no part of you when you're in the shadows that's like, I do want a little limelight, just a little bit.
Yeah, and you just grab it once in a while.
Okay.
Right?
Like coming on this pod.
Coming on the pod, you know, and just kind of getting out there or, you know, or getting next to the people that you want to be around. So
Restraint.
I think that when I first came to New York, I didn't really understand how to navigate the scene well. And it's hard when you can't really stay in the shadows when you're in your 20s.
Yeah.
Because you don't do anything.
Right.
You have no experience. You're not good at anything.
I'm getting coffee in the shadows.
Yeah. And then if you're in the shadows, you're like, all right, cool, don't come.
Stay there. Stay put.
Who said that?
Yeah.
Where are you? I can't see
It's
you.
like, oh, you're not on the list because we don't know who you are.
Good interns, not seen, not heard.
Yeah. So I had to kind of work my way through all of that, but now I think I'm finding a pretty comfortable groove of getting behind people that are extremely talented. And that
So-
comes with time.
So is that what you do? You not ingratiate. That's not the right word, but like work with people that are in the limelight right now to better themselves, better their business. Is that fair to
or
say?
we find talent and then figure out what can take them to the next level, right?
I
And
know
so
two
I've done,
podcasters that might need to enlist your services.
Oh,
Yeah.
we'll get to constructive criticism.
but that to me, that's how I found to really enjoy this world and kind of have fun doing it, right? It's like, oh, this person is great. Let's pour gas on it.
Right. Ooh.
And the first one was Sneeze, right? So I didn't start Sneeze Sneeze was started by Nick Fensom.
Mr. Sneeze.
Mr. Sneeze. I don't know if I should be, he just got outed. So there we go.
All right. Breaking
But
news.
I saw Sneeze like, this thing is very, very cool. How do I get involved? Tracked him down. And then I did the best I could to kind of support him.
And how long have you been working at C's now?
13 years.
Damn.
Why still make a print magazine in 2023?
Yeah. Are you stupid or are you dumb?
Or
I think-
or are you broke? You're not broke.
Well,
Yeah.
you don't make money making magazines.
Right.
Okay.
Right? But when you pick it up and you look at the paper and you feel the printed product, it's a totally different thing. It's also really, really hard.
Yeah.
Right? And that's also kind of the trick of long term is, right, it's find something that's really, really hard to do and that you happen to be good at.
Okay.
Right? So Nick happened to be very, very good at making magazines and curating content at kind of that really, really high refined level. I'm good at kind of taking what Nick does and promoting it and getting in front of people, talking to the people that support it, you know.
You help monetize.
Yeah. And kind of pick up any pieces in New York that I can. Because, well, I mean, this is coming from me, but I look at Sneeze as a New York magazine.
Interesting. Because
Right.
he's from, Mr. Sneeze is from where?
He's from Vancouver and now he lives
Right,
in
he's
Montreal.
Canadian.
He's
Okay.
Canadian, right?
Montreal.
So you keep it, you bring that like New York flavor, which is a corny thing to say, but is where you
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people that
My
bring
words,
that.
not yours.
There's a lot of people
Dirty
that
water
bring
hot
that that are better than me, right? And there's a whole New York network that brings in the information. But I'm also here on the ground, so I can kind of really see it.
You live
Right?
it.
Yeah, so we can go to the events and you can see these people, right? So maybe Nick does 6 months of research and then I go check it, just say like, oh yes. that's-
Yeah.
Facts. Valid.
Facts, B.
Yeah, but also like that's what we're talking about, print versus social versus website,
Right.
right? It's you can be whoever you want on social media, but like in real life, you got to make sure, you know, especially if you're going to put it in print, you got to do your research.
Why has Throwing Fits not been featured in Sneeze?
I mean, this is the start.
Yeah.
This is it? Okay.
I mean, we're getting to know each other, right?
We're linking and building.
Do you have like a issue that stands out to you as like the most iconic or your personal favorite?
I think that in the past couple of years, it's gotten stronger and stronger, and now they're really, really hitting. We've also been lucky to kind of ride this nostalgia wave, right? Kids like print, kids want real things, or kids, I don't know. I call kids everyone from 12 to 50, especially in New York.
Bunch of 50-year-old kids.
For
running
real, it's the
around
only
the
place
city.
where you
I'll
can still
take
be a
it.
kid,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, sure.
This Iggy Pop issue was really good. So
What-
that was
when was
still
that?
early. That's 14. So
Oh,
if
yeah,
you do
number
the
14,
math,
yeah, right there.
it's 4 times a year. So
That's
that's only
crazy.
3.5 years in, right? And we got Foster, who you guys know, other additional
Who you were with
complex
last night?
diaspora. Yep, I saw Foster last
Was he
night.
prepping you for this?
A little bit.
Okay, what'd he say?
He gave me the insight on the cop thing.
Hey, hell yeah. So
that's
he's a
good.
narc.
Yeah.
He narked on the narcs?
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Who
he said
knocks
to
the
bring it.
Narcman?
So we did a little bit of like preview.
Okay.
But Foster actually interviewed Iggy for this.
Crazy.
So he
Was he wearing
tracked
a shirt?
down for most of it, no. Because we tracked down Foster tracked down his assistant to get it to happen. And it was kind of one of those, you have to email the address or here's a phone number that you text.
Yeah.
Like when you try to get Bill Murray to do something. I think Bill Murray is just a straight landline and you have to leave
Yeah.
a voicemail.
I'm sure.
Fire.
Yeah.
He seems like that kind of guy. Absolutely.
So Iggy's a little bit more accessible, but similar type of character, right?
He's also
there.
they're also both just old men. They're
Right.
not kids anymore.
Yeah.
But then
Maybe
we
so.
went, he lives in Miami for a while now, and he has 2 places, or he did. This was a while ago now, right? So he had a condo on the beach, and then he had a hangout place where he does
Hell yes.
interviews and like kind of up the river and in a bit of a not the nicest
Sure.
neighborhood.
In Carcosa.
So we're like driving through backwoods Miami, you know, through some territory that's, you know,
Right.
Yeah.
little questionable. And then
You're not going to find Dave Portnoy there.
right. But then you pull up and there's a bright red Ferrari outside
Hell
the
yes.
house. Just like straight up. And he drives the car because he likes it.
Right.
And that's kind of, this is one of those moments where you get next to somebody that's done it all, seen it all.
Yeah.
And then
Inhaled it all, snorted it all.
yeah, and is very
it all.
happy with life.
Yeah. I mean,
Right?
he literally, you went to the straight fun house, dude. Literally.
I
For
remember
real.
in this issue, he was talking about like just how content he is, right? Because he's kind of just like found his, I don't know, he obviously did it all, saw it all, fucked it all, snorted it all, and now he's just like chilling.
Yeah. And now he's in Miami where he can keep his shirt off all
Right.
the time.
Yeah, he looks
Stay
like
real leathery.
He looks like anyone else walking down Collins Ave, just real leather.
Yeah.
real sun kissed.
Yeah, and he's gonna live forever.
Yeah,
There's like that
Inshallah.
certain genetic predisposition where you put all that stuff in your body.
The
and
Keith
then you're-
Richards effect, right?
Yeah,
Same
the
shit.
two of them are very similar.
you're embalming yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
from the inside out.
Did you guys get the last when you had Virgil on the cover? Was that the last Virgil cover when he in his lifetime?
Because that came out mid-November.
That was a banger.
Yeah, that was huge. And Virgil was amazing.
Yeah.
Like that's close as I got to him. We kind of always knew each other. We said hi, but that was it. For that issue, he went in crazy. Like he fully dedicated himself to it,
Right.
getting the talent, doing the interviews. And I think that's a repetitive story that a lot of people that have worked with him have.
Yeah.
If he's in, he
Full
was
commitment.
in.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is crazy. Also for someone that has so many live projects at any given time.
Yeah.
Right.
Just never slept, right?
I don't even know how he did it, right? Even if you looked at his Instagram feed, putting up 80 stories in the morning.
Just going beast mode.
Yeah.
Yeah, but also
Full
just like
turbo.
checking,
24-hour screen time.
checking.
Yeah.
This is cool. This guy's cool. This is cool. And it was amazing.
Who is important question here? You might have to, if you need a second to think on it. Totally cool. Who's the hottest babe to have ever graced the cover of Sneeze?
The back page.
The biggest baddie.
Yeah. Because if people aren't familiar, right, Sneeze is a dual cover. What's the term?
Well, Complex is the dual cover.
Okay.
Sneeze is it's all posters, right? So you pull them out. It's soft fold, so that way everything can get framed. I
Full
think there's
bleed.
Reddit boards about how they steam it, so that way you can frame it. You know.
I've heard that. Yeah. Okay.
But yeah,
So who's the hottest
number
babe to get steamed?
Number one back page baddie.
I might have to come back around that, but we've had a couple Victoria's Secret models that were super strong.
Angels.
A lot of that stuff was early, and right now we might have to come back. I got to
Okay.
think about that for
Do you
a
have a
second.
dream? Do you have a dream person to put on the cup, whether it's the front cover or back cover, that you haven't Sneeze hasn't yet gotten its
Yeah.
its
You
nose
mentioned
on?
Bill Murray, so let's remove him from the table.
I mean, Bill Murray is kind of evergreen, but
Yeah.
he might be kind of disappearing from the spotlight, so that might never happen.
Right.
But those phone calls have been made to that random landline.
What's the phone number?
I don't have it on me right now,
Les Foster.
but it exists.
Who are some other like white whales then?
I think it's just about, and again, this is kind of like Nick's department, right? I'm more operations and logistics, but I think it's just about being on top of the cultural moment. You guys are very zeitgeisty.
Yeah.
Right? But
So it's us.
We'll go on the
try.
back page, looking all sexy.
Who's the most buzziest of the moment person right now? Because I think that's obviously always a hard question to answer.
Clint.
But in this day and age where everything's so fractured, yeah, is it like Clint from Cortez? Is it like
Right, but can Clint hold the cover?
Probably.
Not in any type of shade kind
No.
of way, right? He can probably hold the cover of most print magazines because most print magazines they're just scrambling, right?
Right.
Where Sneeze is a bit slower, and like if you're on it, it's for like a real kind of reason.
True.
I think if again, and this isn't my department, but if Clint were on it, it would be a crew photo, right? Because that's where his power lies.
Absolutely.
the community?
The gang.
Yeah. And then the other hard part is putting guys on covers is hard. Because
That's why you got the girls on the back.
Yeah.
Right,
We
but like,
balance it out with some
do you want
TNA.
like what guy is that interesting that you want to put a poster of him on your wall?
True.
Like rappers with the word baby in their names.
Skepta?
Or
yeah. Big smoke.
yeah, I mean that stuff is
Sench.
cool, but it's hard.
Dave.
Yeah.
Dave would be sick.
The Drake cover passed.
Yeah?
Right?
Oh, really?
Oh, sorry, I don't know if that's gonna get caught or not.
No, you're fine.
No, like the moment for that to have happened has passed.
okay. I see what you're saying.
Like what could we possibly do with Drake that's interesting?
yeah. That's fair.
And again, like not even shade, but it's just like what are we gonna do?
Right.
You know?
That's
fair.
Lawrence's friend you're talking about. Careful.
Yeah.
In my own mind.
His imaginary friend.
But I think Sneeze and what Nick does very well is he cycles through the types of covers. Right? So you get a hype rapper musician, and then you do an art cover that 99% of people have no idea what it is.
Right.
And so it just naturally sells poorly.
Takashi Murakami, dream cover.
For real.
I don't know.
No. But, we've been lucky. We've gotten really strong art people. We've gotten really strong skateboarders, music. And that's the cycle, right?
Right.
Art, skate, music, girls. And you just keep it moving.
I love that, dude. The major food groups.
Yeah. You've also done a bunch of collabs. Sneeze has collaborated with Adidas, Reebok, Vans. Did you have a favorite?
I think the first Reeboks that Nick did are great.
Was
it's
it
a
Club C?
Yeah. Yeah. And he kind of landed on this black and white color palette, which
Those are hard for sure.
has been recurring. And I think that was a really strong one. Although the Adidas work has been cool. And I think now it's out looking into what are the next categories.
And they're like skate shoes by nature, kind of. Like the Adidas one felt like a skate shoe. Am I wrong? I mean, I know it was like
The Adidas one that we just did, the high top, was a skate
shoe.
shoe. Yeah. And that's kind of part of how these brands do it too. They're like, we want to reinvigorate this silhouette. Let's go find collaborators that can do it.
Yeah.
Which I think for the three of us, we understand that, but maybe not everybody sees.
Right.
There's always someone on the corporate side pulling the strings of the sneakers that you see coming out.
Like 2 years ago, New Balance was like, all right, bringing back the 990 or the 992.
call up Justin Saunders ASAP.
Put up the J signal. The bat signal.
But the Reeboks tie to skate, I think, is just that the shoe worked well for that.
Yeah.
And you can get them for cheap. Because if you're not
How
getting
much are
free
Club C,
shoes.
like $90?
Yeah, and at Ross, they're like 40.
But dress for less, baby.
If you're going to destroy them,
Yeah.
get shoes that you can replace. Because the reality is probably most skaters can't be buying full price shoes.
I feel like
at the rate they're burning through them.
Sneeze was early on the Club C too, right? Like, because it's like you guys, and then again, Jound. It's like we're gonna relaunch this silhouette to the fucking moon, dude.
Yeah, and it's like who can make a better chill sneaker?
The chillest Club C.
Yeah.
But
C
for real,
stands for chill.
that's that kind of fine level of detail that why Sneeze does so well.
Right.
Because Nick will really sit and think about it and do it correctly. So when it comes out, it looks easy, but it was really hard.
Right.
What Sneeze collab?
Shadows,
Yeah.
What Sneeze
dust.
collab bricked the hardest?
I have no comment.
Okay. All right. That's fair.
Do you
We
have
don't share sales data.
Okay. Do you have a personal dream collab you would love to make happen? I think of, there are a few brands maybe missing from the names that I listed out earlier, but I don't know. Or a specific model. Maybe it's even a sneaker.
The collabography.
I think right now we're
Maybe you wanna
chilling
collab
on
with Paramobile.
sneakers. A Paramobile,
be
yeah.
sick.
We've also discussed maybe trying to dress because the chair has these fabric elements. So working with kind of a fabric,
Like reupholstering the
partner.
fucking throne.
Yeah,
That'd be cool.
Maharam, maybe like some stone nylon.
Ooh, some performance fucking ballistic water resistant shit.
Yeah, and that's kind of where we're headed too, right? It's kind of the land of custom, and I can do it, and I can. When you can make everything, you got to really start to dig in.
The headrest could just be a giant badge. That'd be fire.
Yeah, let's see. We got
So
to ask.
dream collab though, sneaker wise, anything?
For Sneeze, we'll let Nick do that.
Okay. And are those all inbound?
Still
that
into the
brand-
Belgians.
Ooh, you're a
Yeah.
Belgian boy?
I mean, when it's appropriate.
Were you married in Belgians?
Yes.
Okay.
What was the
that's
rest of the fit?
That was all custom, done in the garment district, because I have, through a friend of a friend's dad who runs a close friend of ours, his dad owns like a garment factory. And so they took a suit that I had made for the wheelchair and they ripped it off for a tuxedo.
Sick.
Made in New York, baby.
Damn.
Yeah.
Dude, a Belgian collab would be fired. The Bradley Carbone signature Belgian.
Some little kind of ballet
Mr. Casual.
slippers.
Yeah, that'd be fire.
Rewinding a bit in your professional history, before Sneeze, before all this, you worked for a bit at Starworks, an agency, a fashion brand strategy agency that you told us they were great at strategy, but terrible at getting away with scams. What were the scams that were getting pulled there?
Starworks was actually somewhere in the middle of my career, and I learned a lot from it because I worked in media first, and then I worked at the brand, and then went to the agency, which is kind of, if you want to get into the shadows, you got to do all that stuff first.
Sure.
Because you have to know how it works.
You got to run the gauntlet.
Yeah. And so Starworks, they'd been around for a very long time, and that's kind of the there was only a handful of these kind of high fashion agencies, right? They did the PR, strategy, branding, all of that stuff. And they would just cycle through the brands, right? So there was it was Starworks, Carla Otto, you know, there's a handful of these global companies.
PRC.
Yeah, and then they screw their client, and then the other guy gets it, and then they screw them, and then the next guy gets it. It's a big it's a wheel, right?
It's the 5 families, dude.
So was it just
real.
like too focused on the bottom line and like
Yeah.
the fucking strategy went by the wayside? Like,
I mean, I went in there. I went in there to do strategy and kind of like hone those skills there. But then, as a result, you also see the billing process,
oh,
which you know, I don't think we can put the whole industry on blast, but like
Right.
that's kind of when you're dealing with intellectual capital, the margins are insane.
Yeah.
Right, because you're paying your staff whatever you need to pay them to show up, and then they're just writing stuff.
Yeah.
Right, there's no cost of goods.
Right.
I guess there's rent to pay.
Yeah, there's that.
But
the overhead you're saying
I
is
was
low, yeah.
gotta
blown
pay for-
away by how that stuff actually worked. You know,
but you build and then you build a client a fucking crazy bag, and they're like, okay.
yeah. There's like our strategic team is going to spend 6 weeks doing a deck for you.
Yeah.
And it's really just Bradley comes in for 10 days and writes it
Right.
off the top of his head.
You had to pay for the
know.
PowerPoint software.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we're talking like 6-figure projects.
Yeah.
Let's get a couple more line items in here, boys.
You got to pay for an associate to make sure that every box in the flowchart is centered. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they cover your lunch, you know?
So when you say like scam, we're not talking about like illicit activities. We mean that the entire segment of this industry is just a scam inherently, to some degree. Not that they don't have value.
If we want to dig into it, fashion is the scam all the way from the bottom to the top.
Isn't what is Virgil's all-time tweet? Oh, design is the freshest scam. I believe it's the all-time.
Because whenever you're dealing with kind of intellectual capital, you get this kind of margin build on it, right? Which is also the same with clothing, right? If you were really, really good and knew exactly what you wanted, you could make custom everything and probably be sicker than everybody else.
Sure.
The scam stuff is kind of like, oh, we have this talent. We're going to do this store opening. We're paying talent.
Right.
Let's just add $100,000 on the talent fee.
Oh, of course. Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and
It's inserting yourself as the middleman.
it's also the opacity of the market, right? Fashion is historically opaque, and so it's basically what can you grab in the middle? You know, like what is someone willing to pay, and how do you justify it? You know, what
by
makes
any
these
means necessary.
yeah, what makes these silk pants $1,000, right? I can go on Alibaba and make those exact pants for $40,
Right.
But they don't have the tag on it.
Right. There's no badge. So
right? But I think that's also part of getting older is, are you confident enough to make your own stuff?
Well, we are.
I mean, you guys are. You've released what, 2 kind of massive collections?
Yeah.
3 shirts.
3
and a bunch of
private
collabs.
label pieces of clothing, and then 2 huge suites of collabs with Porter. But yeah, what about you?
But
Do
you have to be
wanna do-
you have to be hyper confident in your point
Yeah.
of view because you're putting yourself out there.
How do you
Also, I
feel
think that
about
we're not trying to grab the biggest maximum bag possible because one, we don't have the confidence that people would like feel justified in paying that, and 2, it's like we know that that's not. We don't need those like 4x margins, you know.
Right. Right, because it's just going to you. You don't have 8 people in the middle.
Yeah, we'll do
Yeah.
2x margins.
No wholesale. So the $1 million question, literally for you, Bradley, is like you're 40 now, you're almost at your 50-year-old kid level status. Would you see yourself doing something like that, putting like your name on a label and putting your money where your mouth is?
No, because I'm not confident like that.
Oh, no.
But I do have a lot of
Because
clothing.
Carbone already did merch.
Yeah, true.
For real.
And they're not even merch. They did cut.
No, they did a
real
full
brand.
collab, bro. Or,
Yeah.
a
No, they
full
did a real
line.
brand. Yeah.
Really?
And maybe a
Yeah.
gift collab as well.
Yeah.
They're also opening a tower in Miami.
Like housing.
Yeah, and that's what I'm talking about, like this like theme park thing. It's a full-blown Carbone experience.
It's like a Margaritaville for fucking rigatoni heads.
Yes. So you can like live the dream.
So
You
Marital
know?
Carbone is just Italian Trump, is what I'm
You can
hearing.
just die of a heart attack at 62. You know.
Yeah. But I mean, when I first got in the wheelchair, I got a lot of clothes custom made.
Yeah.
Because obviously pants are made for walking. They're not made for sitting. Right? So, like, you know, if you can redefine the cut, they work really well. So that's that suit that the Tings made for me, you know, uptown, is that they ripped off a suit that we got made. We did a job for Xenia a while back, and part of the deal was they gave me a bunch of stuff.
Oh, shit.
So we went in to the whatever they call it, the kind of custom floor, and they measured me to make everything fit in the wheelchair.
Interesting.
So we did pants, we did suits, which was very cool.
Because you need the right break sitting down, because you're always sitting down.
Right. And it also has to button sitting down, because no one buttons their blazer sitting down. But
true.
I'm always sitting down, so like I have to button it sometimes.
Right.
Right. And then the shirts have to have a special cut. They have to be shorter. Blazers have to be this kind of shorter because it stops here rather than at the thigh.
There's got to be a market for this type of clothing, right? Guys and girls in wheelchairs that just don't want to be, that want like shit custom made for their situation.
They want big drip.
For sure.
And then want to look fire.
And there are companies that have tried. Tommy Hilfiger actually has a family member that's in a wheelchair. So they have a whole disability thing, which I thought was really cool. The hardest part is most people that are in this situation, you're spending most of your money on medical stuff.
Right. The $50,000 wheelchair.
Yeah, and so insurance covers it sometimes, and sometimes it doesn't. But then it's
So maybe in socialized countries they can afford to get wheelchair drip, but in America, no, not so
America,
much.
no way.
Yeah.
But
you
maybe
the best
Sweden, Norway.
Yeah. Japan. Oh, Japan wheelchair clothes. I'm sure it'd go fucking hard.
I mean, Japan, the wheelchair game is crazy.
Yeah.
Like you tell them you're coming, and they wait for you at the subway with the sign.
Fire.
And the little ramp, because they don't have handicapped subways. So a man literally waits for you with the ramp to get in and out of the subway.
Sick, dude.
Eric Adams, where the fuck you at?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They got that Marital Kart technology too.
Are you the best dressed guy in a wheelchair in the world?
Don't be humble.
I'm in the shadows. I don't know.
Oh, come on, dude.
You got to be in the top 1% at least. I mean, who else is up there?
I guess so. Yeah.
I mean, Larry
in New York.
Flint, R.I.P. He's dead, right?
Yeah,
So there's another example, right? Like Larry Flint made stuff, right? He's like, what? I'm in a wheelchair now. Can I make a wheelchair out of gold? And I think that's the future for all of us as we get older, because now we've been in this game for so long. Of course, brands can make cool stuff, but the reality is anything that makes it to the purchase moment it got watered down somewhere along the line, right? How much clothing is pure vision to execution? There's just too many people in the way. Same with movies, right? Like, how do you make a perfect movie? It's never the director's mind to what you see.
Right.
And probably very similar with clothing as well.
Yeah.
So, like, that's kind of why, and now that you can make anything, it's like, are we entering this phase where, yes, you buy vintage, yes, you buy off the rack, but then once in a while, you get an idea and you go get it done.
Is that so expensive still? Like, right now with clothing, like, to go from concept to execution, like even just getting samples made, right? You still need like factories and the
patterns
the creators
cost so much. Like
that's true. Or you go in halfway, right? You meet one of these people that have an atelier, shout out like Eric Kim and the Firme guys, right? Like they're starting to kind of feel that area, right? Come in for custom, but also if we don't do full custom, maybe you can just get kind of...
It's like a white labeling situation, right?
Semi off the rack, like what you're looking for.
Yeah.
Or you can kind of go in with these are the things I want to do, and then they can show you what they've done, and then you kind of make the adjustments.
Right. Besides kind of a lot of the stuff you mentioned where it's like stuff that's meant for sitting, stuff that has to measure differently, like as one of the best dressed guys in a wheelchair in the world, if not the best, does being in a wheelchair change the way you get fits off? Like do you get more, do you focus more on the footwear? I mean, I know you became more of a uniform guy, but like how else besides the way you've already inferred, has it changed the way you put fits together?
You don't have to worry about what's on the back.
That's so true.
It's like throw that shitty graphic tee on.
Which is great, because people mess that up all the time. Or there's a massive logo on the back. You can still get away.
Do you wear a lot of juicy couture sweatpants?
we would have no idea.
No one needs to know. That's the best part.
Yeah, they actually say stony in bejeweled fucking bedazzled.
You can't wear any Ibiza jeans. There was Ibiza, right? Yeah.
Unless they do the big crotch, but that's tough.
Yeah.
That takes you got to really be...
You need some OG ice cream with like a fucking fox right on the dick, dude.
But hyper confidence for that kind of stuff.
True.
But the thing with the wheelchairs, you can wear things that might otherwise be hard to wear for a quote unquote normal guy. Right? Because pants is always tricky, right? Normal guy, there's only so many choices that you can go down before it starts to get weird.
Yeah.
Right? But in the wheelchair, I mean, you have a little bit more room for pushing it.
Interesting.
Still not doing motocross denim, but...
That'd be fire,
Get the Balmains out.
Yeah, for real.
Or like shoes that, I mean, a lot of times I had to walk a lot. I'm not going to wear shoes that are uncomfortable, right? I'm going to wear just like my fucking beater sneakers.
Right. And all of my sneakers are pristine.
Yeah.
Okay, so how often are you reflipping or are you flipping shit that you have worn because it's never touched the ground?
Like to resell it?
Yeah.
It's more if it sits around for long enough,
Right.
and you kind of get over that. I'm still not over it though, right? Where you just have stuff because you really, really like it.
Right.
Is there and sentimental value attached to it?
Some sentimental value, or just a moment in time that's, this thing is so sick, I can never really wear it because it's bright red
Right.
or bright green or fully patterned. But it's just, that's kind of this.
This is the hoarder mentality, by the way. You're just justifying an addiction.
Yeah. But like when you see something like this is great.
Yeah.
But could you wear sneakers and then flip them as like never worn
Brand
because
new.
they're uncreased?
Yeah.
Fire.
I guess so.
Damn. Count your blessings, Bradley.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the rarest pair of sneakers you own?
I had the first Pata Air Max 90s.
Okay. Real head shit.
Yeah. I have the green ones.
Yeah.
Maybe the orange was the friends and family.
Maybe.
Okay.
I don't remember, but I know
So I
that
might
they go
actually
for a
not
pretty penny.
have the crazy ones. I might have the mainstream ones.
But still.
Those are really good. Those are my dad's basement. I don't know. I just kind of have the years of, I got thrown into the sneaker culture, I got an internship at Complex. I was like, oh, these people are crazy. Everybody's got hundreds of pair of sneakers.
Right.
That's a New York thing, right? Because in New York, you're in the streets and you have to be comfortable because you're walking everywhere.
And you have like no room in your apartment, so they're all just in your cubicle at whatever fucking, magazine that you work at.
Right. That's why it's nice to work in a magazine because you get your packages.
True. Yeah, right.
They don't
You
get
don't need a
stolen off your
doorman.
doorstep.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to think of the other shoes. I mean, they're just kind of like, they load up over time.
Do you have a lot of rare Adidas from having spent? How long were you at Adidas for?
I was there for 3 or 4 years.
Okay.
I have a lot of crazy stuff that just never came out.
Ooh.
I'd have
samples
like
and shit.
weird samples from Raph, crazy ones from Rick, because he would sample stuff for the runway.
Right.
Yeah.
And then they get canceled.
Yeah.
So like these crazy
Rick,
space
no one's buying those
sneakers.
horse hoof sneakers. You fucking
Yeah.
weirdo.
Yeah.
The Turbo Dorks. I guess those are Converse, but
And just like heavy rubber, they just weigh crazy
Right.
amounts. And so I saved a lot of that stuff just because it's cool,
Right.
what's
And
the Yeezy samples looking like? You got any crazy shit from that time, or is that pre, or were you gone by then?
I mean, Nike Yeezy, I was at Complex. And Noah Callahan Dever has some crazy samples from that.
I'm sure.
Because that's when they were sampling colors. So
Right.
there's all those weird colors. So he's a few of those.
I put his daughters through college. Though I guess now that was the big thing, like that Yeezy one like sample that he wore at the Grammys. It's like the biggest loss ever, like auctioned off a couple years ago for over $1 million, and then it just resold for like $150K. Oof. That market is going the way of NFTs,
It's
my
like an
friend.
NFT, exactly.
Yeah. So I was at Adidas right when Kanye was getting signed.
Okay.
And I was also there for the first design session.
Ooh.
Because I think
How'd that go?
I think they signed him. They probably signed him. My calendar is not perfect.
Right.
But I think he got signed in October. And usually you get signed and then you start working 6 months later, 12 months later. He wanted to start working the day that he signed the contract.
Okay, that's done. Let's hit the fucking lab, dude.
So he came to the New York office because he was in New York. And that's where
On
I
Houston
worked.
Street?
No, it was actually on Hudson because they had 2 offices.
Oh, sorry. I meant he lived on Houston.
Yeah. But
Oh,
there was
that's
Adidas office
right.
there too.
Yeah, right across from the Adidas like store, kind
Yeah.
of
A
little
like
west,
catty
yeah.
corner. Yeah.
But he came in blazing, like ready to design.
Of course.
And also just doing horrible things like out the gate.
Like,
Going manic
saying,
mode.
like saying anti-Semitic shit, or like just, or having
Treating
terrible
like shit.
sneaker ideas, or both.
That's amazing.
Where do we start?
But also just saying crazy stuff like, oh, like, can we move this person out of the way? The way they look distracts me.
What was the craziest idea he had that you were very much immediately just like, this is never going to market?
I mean, I was leaving there at that time.
Okay.
So I
Not
was,
my problem.
yeah, not my problem, right? When it was getting kicked around, I was like, yes, this is a great way for you guys to kind of enter this space. But then, you know,
it was a great move for Adidas.
he had come in and out of it. He had come in and out of Complex multiple times, right? So I
Yeah.
had already had my run-ins. I had already had my set of stories.
Yeah.
And so like you had to know what you were getting into, and they didn't know
But you did.
Oh, because he was like a guest editor at Complex,
Yeah.
right?
multiple times.
Is that when you were? Is
Yeah.
that like when you worked with them on the?
Yeah,
actual
but it's more
magazine?
that I would see him in the hallway or like hear him saying
doing?
something
Well, him
insane.
and Noah were really close, right? Noah wrote a bunch of cover stories.
Yeah, and he was also like a quote unquote guest editor. I don't know how much.
He was
actual-
also the OG fit check guy.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Damn,
He had a
Kanye
column.
invented fit check.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if it was
Kanye's beatdowns.
Yeah. Now we moved on to Bradley's beatdowns.
That all aged poorly, but
that whole culture is not aging great.
Yeah.
Again, look at the bottom lines, folks.
although Adidas just sold a ton of those shoes.
Yeah, like $160 million.
Like they cut their losses significantly.
Yeah.
And it also just kind of shows the level. You get stuck in your New York bubble and you think everybody knows everything about all of this. And that's not
Kids just feel like this is
Go
cool.
to
I want to wear them to school.
Go to Miami and everyone's wearing fucking Yeezus and Essentials.
Yeah, true.
Yeezy,
Yes.
not Yeezus.
I mean, Essentials and the slides look really
Why are
good
you wearing
together.
Why are you wearing sweatshorts in the fucking 99-degree humidity, bro?
I mean, my favorite part
Driving everywhere.
less recently now, but my favorite part of going back and forth between New York and Miami was the Supreme Air Yeezys that don't exist.
Yeah.
where they write Supreme in that like whatever
In
that
like the
stripe.
brush font.
Yeah, like where they the more recent Yeezys had that like stripe.
In like the 350s.
Yeah, and they would it would just say Supreme and they
Yeah.
would make it red. And I mean, those are actually sick.
There's the Supreme ones. There's the Balenciagas. Like you got like a lot of really good collabs.
The
Actually,
Versaces.
The first time I went to China, we went to one of those marts that sell everything fake possible.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
the best.
And they were selling all
the hottest
these
shit in the game.
all these different phones. It was kind of somewhere near the beginning of the iPhone, and so all of these phones had iOS on them. So you get like a flip phone with iOS. It was so sick. Like they probably didn't work, but I wish I'd bought all of that stuff because
That's cool as hell.
It's amazing.
I bought
Artifacts.
some Popeyes Air Force Ones in Beijing. Like Popeyes chicken and biscuits, and still have them. And a bunch of other fake shit that
I
never
mean, it's
existed.
great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
awesome.
All the
like-
shit that should be all real collabs.
Did Budweiser ever have a fucking Air Force? Because like I bought those. Those are awesome.
I don't think so.
The DUI fours.
I guess the Heinekens existed.
Yeah, well, there's the
Yeah.
Heineken Dunk,
Yeah.
most famously.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But now that we're in post, like,
Yeah.
now the
Damn, we gotta
bootleg is
bust those
cool.
out. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
absolutely.
You know?
So when you were at Adidas in the 2010s, you did a bunch of trend forecasting back then in that era. But what we want to know, we want to tap back into that big brain of yours. What are some trend predictions you have for 2024?
Bradley's beatdowns. Here we
Okay.
go.
So let's go. I guess let's talk about clothes first, and then
Sure.
we can go into kind of
Macro culture.
inevitable end of the
Apocalypses.
world.
Multiple doomsday scenarios.
So now I'm old, right? I'm 41.
You're still a kid.
Yeah, you have till 50.
So according to me, I'm a kid, but I'm old,
Okay.
right? So I've finally seen the cycle. I've seen the full cycle, which is a really hard reality to deal with. When you see the exact same stuff come back around.
right.
It's kind of jarring.
Yeah.
yeah,
And
but we're
then-
getting it too on a 10-year level. Maybe you're more on like a 20-year level. Not that we're that different in age. But
yeah,
still.
I'm on a full, I'm almost 20 years in New York.
Yeah.
So I'm starting to see the trends go full, and that's like a hardcore reality check. So where are we at right now, right? We just got done with Gorp Core. You know, we just peaked probably on lightweight Gore-Tex jackets
Sure.
last year.
Shelves everywhere.
So where do we go next, right? So we're going into economic compression moment. So menswear always comes back during economic compression.
Fuck.
My time to shine. Jack Nicholson give yes.
We're about to give,
I mean, I got to
he's
keep
about
my
tuck
job
his blazer in.
because everyone at Complex thought I did fuck yeah menswear.
Oh, shit.
And then I
Yeah.
obviously did not.
That was me.
But thank you for
no problem,
the
bro.
extra like 2 years of employment.
That's cool, bro.
So where are we at? So that's peaked, right? And so what inevitably comes? Menswear will inevitably show up now. Camo is days away. Right?
I like that. We got some real tree ready to go.
Guys
Yeah.
can only stay away from camo for 2 years max.
Yeah.
It's just too much,
The camo
right?
keeps calling.
It's like, whoa, wait, frog camo?
Yeah.
think
There's
they'll-
so many different types.
Yeah. And if-
Desert camo?
yeah, and if you
Digi?
just buy the book, you know, Maharishi wrote it all
Right.
down.
Yeah.
Did you camo sick?
And I think that like what Pharrell and I'm guessing Matthew did for the LV
At
show,
LV.
Yeah.
you know,
That was
it's
a Digi
there
camo,
it
right?
is. Yeah,
Yeah.
With
they
the
kind of took
Domino,
Digi
yeah.
one step further. It's like a little bit bigger squares,
Yeah.
but like it's cool.
On
Exploded
LeBron's
Digi.
terrible fit on opening night last night.
Yeah.
He was wearing that
He
jacket.
wore it.
He's wearing a jacket and very tight pants. And
He had the bag.
and a 28 or the whole fit was $28,000 according to some Twitter account.
Yeah.
So not even close to me.
But he got the news.
Not even fucking. He barely cracked half of what you got going on just at the base.
Just on a normal uniform day.
Yeah.
Well, he's in the billboard, right? He's in the campaign, so it's
You
like,
could be naked in the
Oh.
chair.
Yeah.
You could be naked in the chair and still be out flexing
LeBron.
Pretty Rihanna got replaced by LeBron, so the first tunnel fit on opening night, the game that the Lakers lost, he did come through with the LV Speedy and
Okay.
the Digi
But again,
camo.
that's something you gotta handle. You gotta do that one carefully.
Yeah.
Because it looks the best as the full fit.
Yeah. Well, it looks cool on Pharrell. It looks like shit
It could
on
look
LeBron.
cool in the wheelchair, I think.
Yeah.
But like as a normal guy walking down the street, good luck. Even wearing those pants is pretty hard.
Yeah.
Right? Like printed pants for guys is hard.
Yeah.
But in the wheelchair, it kind of works better because it's part of like a whole encompassing thing.
Right.
So once in a while, when I do wear something outside of my day to day, we do like I've got the leopard print Noah pants.
Hell
I've
yeah.
got the Sean Crawford Arc'teryx.
Oh, ooh.
You know, I have all that stuff.
Do you have his
Fire.
jeans? Those are expensive.
Yeah, but he's going in a really smart direction, right?
Everything's like one of one.
Right. But I think for a moment, my thought with him, and I don't know that we ever really talked about it closely, was start volume, get this stuff into volume, you know? And I was wrong. Like him as artist and those as art pieces is
Right.
the move.
Yeah.
And it's sick. And I think he's already in motion, and then that's only going to get stronger.
Shout out Sean.
And he's someone that can price it at whatever, 4 figures, and people can adequately validate or justify the price tag. 'Cause
Right.
It's like, oh yeah, this is art. It's one of one. It's the perfect pair of vintage fucking double knees or denim that he just put his touch on, and like these literally don't exist anywhere else in the world.
Yeah. And he also has the lineage,
Yes,
right? Came up in New York, saw everything, did everything, and now,
he go hard at go yard.
yeah. The pedigree is
For real.
valid as fuck,
yes.
without a doubt.
So Camo's coming back.
We're gonna hear it first, folks.
They're gonna have to figure out what to do with technical jackets.
Yeah.
I mean, I rep Stone hard, and they're fine. But
But
again,
our favorite Stone and CP is like not the hardcore like utility stuff. It's like there's utility in it, but it's still kind of has like a more vintage rooted silhouette and vibe to it, and like
More like
rawness
classic military, even
versus
kind of?
just like
Yeah.
the most futuristic, innovative space age, stuff that you can climb
I
the top of
agree.
Everest in.
yeah. But that's the whole family looks at it that way as well, right? They have one of the craziest military archives,
Sure.
period, right? And so that's where it really comes from. So sometimes they have to dip in and out of this trendy stuff and like
Yeah.
weird camos to keep mainstream happy. But where they excel is military.
Yeah. And then
Right.
fit is also a thing that you see these brands kind of figuring out in real time too, where it's like a fire piece from CP or Stone, but like the fit doesn't feel right. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe it's a little
bit
too skinny.
European.
Yeah, a bit Euro trash.
Yeah, but that's
we'll
why you
say.
buy it big.
Yeah, of
And that's
course.
why you got to pay attention. You got to try it on. You got to understand what you're dealing with, and it kind of adjust accordingly.
Absolutely.
So you've got military. Obviously, I think I was surprised to see that Raf had the bomber already, because to me that seemed really
The
fast.
Prada bomber? That
Yeah.
that one, the big leather boy?
Yeah. No, I think they did nylon, like oversized.
Okay.
For the runway, but to me that felt early. But obviously it's coming because this is the cycle.
Right.
Menswear and military is what's happening.
Damn. Get ready, folks.
We used to go to war in this country. Now we just dress like it.
exactly.
And then footwear. I don't know. Everybody figured out that loafers are what's up.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
But now
Post-sneaker
what?
world and all that.
Boots.
Boots.
It's cold, right? In a month and a half.
We
so-
love our legacy camions. We like
Timbs?
we rep
Just
that
the
hard. Yeah,
classics?
just yeah.
I mean, Tim's always. If you live in New York, you have to, right?
Yeah.
You have to have the wheat ones. You have to have the all black. I had the opening ceremony Velcro ones, which were sick.
Wait, like literally Velcro straps.
Yeah, so they did no laces.
Right.
And they did a 6-inch wheat, but it's like Velcro. Maybe
Okay.
there's 4 Velcros.
Umberto just did.
Those are really good.
Umberto just did a few more
Timberlands,
Timbs.
right?
Yeah. I don't know what they
Yeah.
really look like though. I think
I
they're a
don't
little out
remember
there.
what they look like, but it didn't register. So I don't know if it was anything. Also, what do you do to a 6-inch boot that's
Well,
done?
Virgil did like the high end version of Tim's when he was at LV, right? He saw that. He was ahead of it. I don't know if I've seen those in person ever, but he had them in the line.
Right.
I still have an old pair of Tim's BBC Black. Remember that shit?
McNary and Pharrell, right?
and Cynthia.
Yeah.
with just like it's a wheat, but then it has like a bright yellow, big ass collar, ankle collar.
Right.
Did you ever wear them? Those sound good.
Nah, I'm supposed to out.
Yeah, but it's another one of those things like you get them and then you have them and then you realize that the original is actually better.
Yeah.
Sure, especially when it's a classic.
Let me hold on to
staple
these. Let me hold on to these for 15 years, and then I'll give them another wear.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's also part of this kind of aging in this zone, right? And that's what I talked about earlier is try to get every classic sneaker in your color, and then you're less of a kid,
Yeah.
right?
All
So it's
right.
like, okay, do I have the all white Air Forces, the all black Air Forces, maybe the wheat? Then that's done, right? And like go through each of the styles, and then you got it, and then there's your closet.
Done.
So we got military and menswear. We got just the classic footwear options that you need to just always have on deck. What
Also,
else?
when you're in economic tightening, you got to have classics,
Right.
right? If you start walking around with a clown in like silver sneakers, it's tough.
Yeah, do you think that the technical runner is out as a sneaker?
I mean, I'm still holding out. I know we're late in the cycle, but the Born and Raised TN, that's kind of one of Spanto's dreams. So we're going to try to see if that can happen.
Okay.
Damn. Okay. Little roadman ting.
Yeah, but I mean, like, that's not even been addressed at all. So that's
A Cold Wall
At
just
best.
did a Nike, the Air Max Plus. They just did a.
Yes,
so that's
very good.
So obviously, like that's like tip of the spear type shit. So I would imagine we'll see some of that, some more
I hope so.
tuned airs coming
Yeah,
our way
because
soon.
I think that whole lineage is pretty rich.
Yeah,
I know some people think it's clown shoes or like it's too mainstream, but
it's a UK thing, right? Isn't
it's
it
a
like
UK thing.
Yeah.
And it's it's a dope boy thing.
Yeah,
You know?
it's a cool shoe.
Yeah.
I'd rather wear that than fucking Pata Air Maxes, if I'm being totally frank.
Yeah, and they had that kind of futuristic play to it.
Exactly.
But yeah, I mean, footwear's hard. It will continue to be hard.
What about like any other trend predictions for 2024 beyond what we put on our bodies?
Yeah, let's go macro.
So that's the bodies. Macro trend is everybody that doesn't do anything is in big trouble.
Oh fuck!
breaking news
Is this another economic compression thing where it's like, yeah, you can't just get by on IG followers now?
on Substack.
Yeah. I mean, but this is the reckoning is 2024, right? Because
Bozo Reckoning.
You better check yourself.
2K24?
You better check yourself before you're reckoning yourself.
the money was free, right? 2020, 21.
Oh, like
From the government.
stimulus, yeah.
There was stimulus. Brands thought they were going to run out of money,
Right.
and then they didn't. It's like, oh, let's just spend it on events and influencers and TikToks and, like overly expensive photo campaigns, right?
Yeah.
But what everybody thought was going to be 2020, 2021 is 2024.
Right.
So it's on, right? So if you've been getting money and
The heat is on, boys.
you've been faking it, it's coming. So now's the time to learn how to do what you say you do.
Watch some YouTube tutorials.
Yeah.
Go to trade school.
Or get as close as you can to power and don't leave for 2 years.
Yeah, proximity to power is important.
Just
folks.
vampires, some powerful motherfuckers. Clout draft.
Yeah.
Become somebody's driver.
Okay. Weed man, weed carrier.
Yeah, weed carriers are coming back hard,
man.
man.
Because I was trying to think back, in my 20s in New York, it's like, how do I get through this thing? Because I'm not a flashy guy, right? So it's like, how do you learn the game or get into the game without showing up, looking the sickest or being the loudest or whatever it is?
How did you do that?
I just kind of kept going. I don't know that I did a great job at it at the time, but I just it was the attrition play, I had a job that I didn't let go of so I could pay my rent,
You'll never get
Go
rid
to
of
every
it.
event.
go to every single event because you get free food, free alcohol.
Yeah, we did that.
Get an awesome looking photo in the New York Post,
Yeah.
Yeah.
which we'll get to.
Yeah, we're covering that for sure.
But yeah, it's just about, it's like the attrition play.
Yeah.
Can you keep yourself alive in New York long enough?
Right.
But there are people that
To
do
learn
that,
stuff.
and they think that that's them doing the game successfully, and it's like, no, you're just doing that to
Survive?
keep your name in the mix, and try to make we should link up later and actually make something happen together on some link and build corny bullshit. But that is kind of what you have to do.
Sure. And if people don't know you, it's not going to happen, right? And so some people, they just get the magic perfect storm and they get famous fast, right? You're the cool photographer. You're the, whatever.
Right place, right time, a little bit. Yeah.
Most people are somebody famous's kid, right?
True.
Mario Carbone.
Yeah, such as yourself.
My dad. But yeah, the reckoning is on. So it's
Okay.
like either learn your craft
Heads
for
will
real.
roll.
Yeah.
I mean, for real. I mean,
Heads
New York
will
is
roll.
wild, right?
Yeah.
If you stop moving, you probably have to go.
Yeah, you got to go shark mode.
Yeah.
Get that $5 foot long, eat half for lunch, save the next half for dinner. Don't get greedy.
Yeah.
Use your brain.
And if you can be tight on it like that, you'll make it and you'll
Yeah.
be fine. And then you can keep painting or keep taking photos or whatever it is that you love to do.
So Two-Tone, I think, or maybe it's Spanto, I forget, or maybe it's both of them kind of share this theory, but I believe it's Two-Tone actually was saying that like the moment passes between East Coast, West Coast every 10 years, right? 80s, it was New York. It was like hip hop, graffiti. 90s was West Coast surfing, Stussy. And then like, I don't know. He kind of says it like ping pongs back and forth. Maybe I'm getting the decades wrong.
Yeah.
Is New York back? And is it going to be better off with the reckoning or worse off?
I
As
think
we call
New
the
York
week.
finally came back this summer.
Okay.
I don't know what you guys think, but like everyone's like, oh, it's back, it's back, it's back. But this summer it was back. People
It
were
was
out.
back.
People were going out. People were going to restaurants.
Yeah.
The weird part about New York is people aren't eating late yet, which is very
Is that when
weird.
you really know that it's back? The 11 p.m. res at Carbone?
Yeah, or the blue ribbon 2 a.m. seafood tower,
Right.
and
We
there's
had a few late dinners this summer, I feel like. Raoul's, the
Yeah.
fried chicken spot in Soho.
I mean,
Blue
to me,
Ribbon.
though, like 9 p.m., I'm like, whoa, fucking late, dude.
Well,
Yeah.
you have a eating disorder, so
Yeah, that's also true.
yeah.
yeah, but also me. Like I eat early now because I'm
Right.
old,
I
but
love a 6 p.m. dinner.
but
best.
that's a huge New York thing, right? Late nights, being around, seeing people. So yes, I think New York is back right now. In terms of the back and forth between the coasts, that's like the rivalry conversation.
Or that's like the LA point of view.
Yeah.
Whereas if you ask a New Yorker, New Yorker's like, well, we're always on top.
Like people in Boston are like, fuck the Yankees, right?
I think LA kind of had us in the 2010s, though.
Yeah, but
With like Fear of God, John Elliott, like all these
in
brands that were like.
fashion particularly.
Yeah, and kind of this like, Eddie Salman was out there. Like, Raph was like fucking.
That's fair.
But they've been so quiet, too, that it even just like a whisper sounds a lot louder, in fucking...
In a quiet-ass room.
Exactly. The context is key there. But-
Right. But we're all East Coast guys, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, this is everything. To
Do you
us,
think when the
know?
reckoning happens in 2024, New York will be stronger of it because like we have culled the weak?
Yeah.
And they're gotten the fuck out the paint and flown back to Ohio? Or do you think it'll
Survival
actually
of the
be
fitted.
worse for us?
The problem with New York is it's so expensive that we're going to lose a lot of talent. And that's always been a problem. So who knows? Maybe it finds itself. Maybe it rights itself. Maybe these neighborhoods that have been brewing for so long finally come into their own.
Yeah.
Nickel Square?
Yeah. I mean, people have been like, oh, Bushwick's on forever, right?
Yeah, Bushwick is Bushwick, dude.
But like, it's never like it's never fulfilled the prophecy.
Yeah, that's true.
Prophecy
you
of
can-
what? Another rave?
Yeah, it's raves, right?
Yeah.
And it's like apartments that you can afford, and it's kind of young talent, right? And I don't know. I mean,
But people have been just saying that for 20 years.
Yeah.
yeah. And like people have said New York dead forever,
Right.
too, right?
Fuck 'em.
So obviously, as a New Yorker or as New York affiliated, because I'm from Long Island, I'm not from New York.
You've lived here over 10 years, so you're a New Yorker.
Right. I don't claim it.
No, not you.
I can claim it in front of everybody except people that were born in New York because
Well, yeah.
that never
True.
that
That never flies.
happens, you know.
Those fucking pieces of shit.
But as New Yorkers, we're like taught to hate Los Angeles, right?
Yeah.
It's just what it is. It's our like it's a go-to. It's a standby. Like
Easy.
Oh, what should we
Whipping
talk
boy.
about? Let's talk about how much LA sucks,
Punch down, very easy.
right? And so by working with Born and Raised, a lot of that changed for me. I learned LA culture. I met all these people. I think that in LA, you have many more pockets of homogenous culture, where in New York, you have this blended culture because you have to.
Yeah.
Right? You've got the glass building next to the project, next to the middle income housing. Everybody's in it together.
Yeah.
In LA, you're in your community and you do it hard and you do it forever.
It's a pride thing.
Yeah, but you can also stay in your neighborhood.
Yeah, but I mean like
know?
neighborhood pride versus city pride. Even
Right.
if there is borough pride, obviously, in New York.
And that's also
Of course.
like born and raised LA, not fucking influencer Instagram LA.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know.
Right.
Fuck.
That doesn't even
We can all
count.
agree. Fuck that.
But I think that was the magic of Born and Raised, is that was the idea of like, can we bring this disparate city under an umbrella? You know, and I think that's where the momentum came from, and where we worked really hard to make that happen. Right? So like, met Spanto and Two-Tone and was like, okay, cool. You're in this fragmented city. You guys have a bigger picture view. So let's take that viewpoint and go hard, right? Like, can we use this brand to encapsulate a city that's just a bunch of villages?
True.
Right? It's Italy.
Yeah. Damn. Ours.
Well, earlier this year, we lost the giant that was Spanto, R.I.P. Spanto.
Forever.
For anyone not lucky enough to have met the guy, what made Spanto so special?
I mean, there's lots of things that made Spanto special, and that's why there's kind of so many articles written and all these people that have said so many great things about him. I think one of the magic parts of Spanto is that he never forgot where he came from, which is really, really hard to do, especially when you come from a rough upbringing, right? It's kind of like the rapper's dilemma. Like, do I go back to where I came from, or do I move to New Jersey and live in a mansion? Right? Because it's hard. Because you come up as a group of people, everybody's struggling, and then you start to see some success, and everybody wants a piece of that success. So to me, that's kind of one of the first things that's the magic of Spanto, is he didn't forget his people, as far as I know.
Is that
Right?
like an inherent generosity that he had? Or is it a humbleness? Like,
I think it's a combination of all of that, right?
Yeah.
So he was generous. He had a pretty sizable ego.
yeah, that's true.
But knew when to humble himself, knew how to read the room. Again, like how to survive the apocalypse, learn how to read the room, get next to power, you know? But Spanto was really good about taking care of people, right? So if he knew that so-and-so has a daughter with cancer, Spanto took the time, go to the hospital, hang out, you know, send them a box of Born and Raised clothes, you know, while we're on the phone with Nike or the NFL trying to like get these programs moving, right? So it's like, let's work every single day and make this thing go off. But at the same time, let's not forget everybody that's helped along the way. And that's kind of...
Like him giving back to the high school, bringing sneakers to all the kids. Shit
It's
like
amazing,
that,
you know? Or like printing special T-shirts for Venice that you can't buy, right? All that kind of stuff, just to like, and to kind of like remember where you came from while you keep moving. You know, and like, I think that's one of the real magics. And the other one is like being able to, go into any room and know how to behave.
Yeah.
Right.
I think anyone that met him, whether it's for like 5 minutes or a lifelong friendship, that you felt like he made you feel like you're like the most special person, or like the most special person in the room.
Yeah, and I think your guys' interview with Spanto is very complete. So anybody listening, you should go and review that.
Thank you.
Because you kind of touched on all of the elements. And that's what makes an individual rich, right? Like, because
Layers like an onion, baby.
for real, right?
Yeah.
Came from like really hardcore upbringing, you know, which that will either shape you or break you. And then when we met, you know, I only lightly knew about that stuff. And then it's like, okay, cool, let's turn this up, and okay, like let's make Los Angeles cohesive. Which is an impossible task.
Right.
But I think it was kind of getting there.
Absolutely.
Is there a specific memory or story that like you hold on to and revisit when you are thinking of him or missing him, and like, well, if you one you could share?
Because we were so involved, right? We talk on the phone 2-3 times a day. I don't know if we talked about this, but like I kind of came on to kind of help them take Born and Raised further. Right. Which is kind of like a lot of the work that I do, is I try to kind of find things with potential energy and then help organize it, talk to people, and make things happen.
An operating officer,
I guess so.
to some degree.
Yeah. Ops.
An optimizer. An Oppenheimer.
Head of ops.
Head op.
I guess like a fun story, because like, also like when you're older, it's harder to break down the walls. right? Like the social walls. Other people say, oh, like, post 30 or post 40, it's very hard to meet new people.
Sure, or make friends, just generally speaking.
Right. I think when you live in New York, it's easier to do because you go out, but again, like a lot of times with guys, you have to find a way to break down the wall to like become friends. And an easy way to do that is by going out, right? Alcohol and whatever else helps you like kind of like drop the walls. So Spanto and I worked on, we helped open the Carhartt store in LA. It's like a side project. And hopefully I'm not putting anybody on blast, but they all wanted to go to the strip club after the opening, right?
Of course. Why not?
And
when in Rome.
Again, like until I met the Born and Raised guys, I didn't understand Los Angeles. And in the past, I had gone, and the strip clubs don't have alcohol.
Right.
Right? Which is very strange. And then you get like a full-blown reality check of where you are when you're not like copious amounts of alcohol, right? And like this kind of brings up all kinds of like privilege and the white guy and whatever, but like whatever. Guys go to strip clubs, it's really fun, right? But it's really fun if you're like partying, you know? If you just go, it's very creepy.
Just to hang out.
You don't want to be sober at the strip club.
So I knew that going to Los Angeles, and they were like, oh, let's go to strip club. I was like, oh, this is really weird, but yeah, sure, we'll go to strip club after the opening. But Spanto made a call, and somehow we got like a table full of water bottles full of every type of alcohol.
You're an open bar.
Hey, you want some Poland Spring?
Yeah, I was like, oh, that's how this works.
Right.
So they were all marked, right? So we're at the table, so then we hung out there for, I don't know, for 4 or 5 hours. It's like those are
super hydrated.
Yeah, but
more
those
water,
are,
please.
Those are all those like moments of like helping understand Los Angeles that I always kind of come back to with Spanto and
cracking the code.
Yeah, and like it's as a New Yorker, it's such a opaque, strange place. It's like you're in one of the biggest cities in the world. You have all these different types of people, but you all stay in your house.
Right.
And
I gotta drive. What?
You got to drive to the event. Or you have to make a conscious decision to see somebody.
Right.
And then, what I always kind of take is all of the beautiful people that I've met in those worlds, and that's kind of what I take from Spanto, right? The different people, he was super close with Cartoon and his whole network, right? And I had met those guys multiple times in the past, but now through Spanto and Born and Raised, gotten very close with them.
Yeah.
Music guys, and the people that, now I know the people that kind of make LA happen.
Right. People joke about like calling someone the mayor. Maybe they're being a little facetious, but like in his case, it's like he was the mayor.
Yeah. And I think it was in a lot of people's interest to, again, like I said, like to pour gas on that, right? Because he was somebody that could handle it personality-wise. And then with the right people behind him, could kind of follow around and kind of organize things, pick up the pieces, and make it happen.
When you came into Born and Raised, is that when we started seeing like the collaborations with the Rams, the Dodgers, the entire NFL, Nike, fucking
straight petrol?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, that's kind of, they had a brand that was about LA and all those value systems that they grew up with, right? I came in like, okay, cool, you guys want to make a bunch of money? Yeah.
Right.
I'm trying to explain this without overly bigging up myself.
You don't sound like a carpetbagger.
Well, you have
Spanto,
Spanto and Two-Tone, who are two like unbridled creatives, right? You might not necessarily know how to like fucking make the business side of it ring off.
And all the great relationships, there's two, but there's always the like organizer and the creative.
It's like a right and left brain, but they had both on one side.
Yeah, they were like super heavy.
It was like a seesaw that couldn't go up and down,
Both on the same end.
It's like, we got two guys. We're like brilliant creatives. We're street toughs. Like we have everything. It's like you have everything except for all the things that like make the business kind of happen.
Except for an adult in the room.
And I wasn't the only one. There's other people that Born and Raised. There's Ethan who brought in kind of money and resources and some strategic thinking, and like the rest of the team. But I kind of helped bridge that gap, right? Because like I had understanding of New York streetwear, brought that over there, and then we're like, yeah, let's go hard with collaborations. So Spanto was like, then get me a Nike. That was like the first meeting. So I was like, okay.
What did he want more, Nike or Taco Bell?
Ooh.
The Taco Bell thing was sick.
Yeah. Do you get free Taco Bell for life now? You should.
I could, I guess. I didn't ask.
You need like the card that Beyonce has with Popeyes.
Yeah. But that's
Lifetime
why
card.
that was such a why Born and Raised was so much fun, because things pop up and then we figure out how to do it.
Right.
So Taco Bell's like, let's do a collaboration. So we're like, fuck, okay. But then we're like, hold on. What if instead of doing a collaboration, we gift all of these kids that work at Taco Bell?
Right.
So instead of doing something that's sold, we did 250,000 uniforms, which were T-shirts.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah.
And they delivered to every single person that worked at Taco Bell on the same day.
Fire.
And it's sick because you're giving it to people that do not have the levels of access.
Right.
They don't get cool stuff. And it's like, here, this is for you.
Right.
And
You're
then you can-
appreciated.
yeah. And now that's, again, like, what are the magical Spanto stories? Like, so yeah, there's great partying stories. There's great, like, whatever. But these moments of reaching down and grabbing people and lifting them up that's
A rising
very,
tide,
very
baby.
cool.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, let's take Taco Bell and let's make it interesting. Give something.
Yeah, absolute legend. R.I.P. Spanto.
But hold on a second. So just to go back on like the Nike thing, I met Span's like, I want a Nike, right? So that was what, 5-6 years ago. And
That was literally day one when you first came in, or when you've been
Almost.
in a working capacity.
once
Day
we
two.
got through like ripping down the walls of like, you know, you have to have a few 5 a.m. conversations to make sure you're on the same page.
Right.
And then you can go back to the 10 a.m. conversations.
with a few days rest in between.
But one of them was get me a Nike. It's like, okay, so it's one thing to be like, we're awesome. Give us a give us a shoe, give us a collaboration. Or you can look at it and say, what are the steps we have to take to be positioned properly to get these projects? Nike's tagline is everyone is an athlete, right? Like, okay, you want a Nike, let's align you with sports. So starting today, you love the Dodgers. And you're going to go to like every single sports game and start to like make this part of who you are.
Yeah.
And it wasn't false because like, there's heritage, there's growing up, you go with your grandparents, all of that.
Yeah.
But that's where a lot of that stuff came from. It's like, okay, we want to get next to the sportswear giants. Let's be credible
we do
in
sports now.
Yeah.
And I think there's still a lot there in sports, and I know there's a lot of streetwear companies like poking around. Most people are not doing it well,
Right.
Because nobody's really like figured out what to do. You have these amazing logos, right? All these sports teams have these legacy logos that are just sick. We just have to figure out like how do you put that into fashion and streetwear in a way that makes sense,
Right.
And I don't know if anybody's done it right yet.
Supreme does a lot, right? They have the MLB collab. I guess. I'm trying to think.
I mean,
but
the Supreme Yankees is cool,
Yeah.
but again, it's because it's so New York.
true.
Same born and raised Dodgers is super strong
Yeah,
because
it
it's
just
so
makes
LA.
sense. Totally.
But it's like, it's such a rich, you've got, I mean, per league, you've got 30 crazy logos plus all the heritage ones. But it's like, how do you make it, how do you crack it?
Jerry does a ton of baseball shit because like he's from a baseball family, right? His dad is a fucking famous man.
Ronnie
Right.
Fye, creative director of the Knicks.
Oh.
Right.
Daniel Arsham, creative director of the Cavs.
Did he not get fired yet?
I don't know.
But like what, but no one's done it yet.
Right.
Like, how do you do it for real?
For real. Yeah.
Or it just doesn't work,
Yeah.
and it has to be the MoMA Yankees hat. Like just like these
Yeah,
like
or
random-
like all the ALD Yankee hats and Mets hats and stuff like that. But I mean, hats is easy. That's the
Sure.
easiest thing to do. It's the other stuff.
But then it's
more
like, do
complicated.
you love your sports team that much that you rep it that hard? To me, that's a big future thing is like how these other
Yeah.
cities can kind of come up.
How are you as a man wearing a hat from a team full of other men?
You just get your tight end to date Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, everyone fucking wants Chiefs gear.
Yeah, right. Just get Taylor Swift
Yeah.
involved and you're good.
Those
That's the answer.
red and
for
white
real.
550s must have gone crazy.
But I mean, Virgil was super psyched on NBA,
Yeah.
right? And Virgil's done a lot of great things, but the LV NBA stuff didn't
True.
hit.
Yeah.
It was like too expensive. You couldn't find the formula. So
Is he wearing a fucking Calgary Flames jersey on the cover of Sneeze?
yeah.
He
was a
honestly,
hockey-
he
he was
was
a hockey crazy
rocking
guy.
hockey. There's a great pic of him in a Whalers joint.
Well,
he wore hockey jerseys well.
Wisconsin's
dude.
a big
Sweaters.
Wisconsin's a big hockey state.
Yeah, that's
And
true.
Chicago's a bit of a hockey
Yeah,
town.
Blackhawks.
His
Original
photo
six.
shoot, he pulled out. He came really
He
hard
looked so
with
good,
that was really thought through.
He brought his own shit. He styled himself.
Well, it was all
Everything,
and he went
yeah.
crazy with the jewels, if I'm not wrong, right? Didn't he do?
Crazy stuff.
Did he
All
went full
custom,
grill, right? Or
Full grill and
Yeah.
the rings
So sick,
and
dude.
and he was sick at that time.
Yeah.
And so
Like ill. His illness was
Yeah.
present. Yeah.
both
sick
but
and
yes.
ill.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was also pandemic.
Yeah.
So basically, he and Kenneth just drove around Chicago, and Virgil gave him the tour of Chicago, and they got really close off of that.
Amazing shit. Yeah. Shout out Kenneth Capello, legend.
Well, whether it's Spanto, whether it's Virgil, you know, you're operating in the shadows, you're positioning yourself next to power. You've spent a lot of time in the last 20 years with a lot of New York City downtown legends. What downtown Don Dada gave you the most knowledge that you still retain to this day?
Yeah, pound for pound, who had the bars?
I mean, I said this in my when you guys were making fun of me on the other one with the rat story.
Isaac Woods.
Yeah, our guy, shout out Isaac.
I know, what's his tagline when it starts?
What's your favorite downtown legend?
Yeah.
What's your favorite downtown legend? Sorry, like we're a little far in the podcast. My brain's starting to get
it's
soft.
totally fine, dude.
So
You said Aaron the
it's
Don.
Aaron.
Yeah.
Aaron wrote the book for real.
The downtown Don.
You know, and it's been replicated, and I think it's obvious now, but maybe it's not, right? But what Aaron, like, he kind of almost put it into the format of get the community around whatever it is that you're doing, and then you become, that idea can become bulletproof, and then you can step away from it and do the next one.
So you created that blueprint, is what you're saying, to some degree.
Yeah, you have to have people before anything.
Bars.
Right? And that's what they did with Supreme, right?
Yeah.
Supreme was already that, but then they just built it and built it and built it, so it becomes impenetrable, right?
Right. Blueprints aside, was Aaron also the most fun dude to party with back in the day?
Probably.
Yeah.
I was young. Like, I'm half a generation below, probably.
Right.
So I was there, but I wasn't on the couch,
Right.
right?
But you was there. When people say you wasn't there, you could be like, well, I was there.
I was
I was
there.
just not a VIP.
Can you?
Yeah, and I get the, like, whatever, the pound, the high five,
Sure.
but, like, not the long sits on the couch.
Yeah,
Right.
not the 5 a.m. combos.
Yeah.
Can
And
you
that happens
revive?
now, but now they're not 5 a.m. because everybody's sober.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now they're like 3 p.m. on the
9 a.m.
pier in
breakfasts.
South Beach.
Yeah.
Can you help revive a New York thing? Remember that brand?
It's on
That
right
was
now.
him, right?
It's for
Is
sale
it?
right now. You can buy it.
How much? I'll buy it.
Oh, like
Fuck
the
it.
whole brand?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you can buy a T-shirt.
Oh, how much for the brand though?
I don't know. I can put you in touch.
The biggest personal shopping request ever from Virgil when I worked at Grilled was he wanted all of the anything stuff that was on Grilled.
Damn, I had a T-shirt that I sold at the bazaar. I could have given him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was obsessed.
But it's great because, like, I talk to Aaron about it sometimes. Like, my dad's like, "Oh, a New York thing. That's pretty clever."
Yeah.
Because it's there. It's like in your face. It's and you got it, right?
Yeah.
So I think that in terms of structure, what they did, and that's the whole like Supreme ecosystem that I came up when I learned from those guys. You know, learning from Aaron, and then at a moment I was like going to the office a lot. Like, so I learned a lot from James and just kind of like how things go. That was all kind of like early, but that's kind of how I learned the quiet structures of like how downtown
Sure.
works and the hierarchies and all of
James
these
is like
crews.
the most quiet guy, the most quiet billionaire in New York, dude.
Yeah. But the same thing with like, again, like the graffiti crews you kind of learn from too. You know, like how Kanye operated downtown was very impressive and just, I don't know how much of it was conscious or not, but I definitely came in as an outsider, right? So I had to study and be quiet and just kind of be out and showing up
Learn
and
by
learning
osmosis.
learn what these guys are doing and how does it work.
Yeah.
And one more is Tony, obviously, right? Tony Arcabazia from A-Life kind of taught me tons as well.
Does that archetype of like downtown legend guy, does that still exist in 2023, or is everyone just like too out here trying to like seize their moment and be the biggest TikToker or whatever the fuck?
The problem is everybody thinks they're the guy,
Oh shit.
right?
Yeah.
Tough, you know? Everybody
There's
thinks
so
they're
many
the guy.
fucking guys.
Sausage party downtown.
For real. And so it's like, who's the guy? I don't know that we have, it's so fragmented now that we don't have such strong leadership. But I also think that this fragmentation is setting the stage for the next group of people.
Okay.
Because like when I
The
came to New
future
York,
legends.
yeah, because I was under the cloud cover of everybody above me, right? They were so powerful that they got more than one generation of power.
Yeah.
But
Right,
it was
like-
vertical, now it's horizontal, where everyone kind of has their own realm or their own domain.
Yeah, and then like what even is
Fiefdoms.
it? you know?
And what?
And what even is it now? You know, like I'm the best at
Podcasting?
I'm the best at drawing on my jeans. Like, okay.
I mean, sure. Yeah. That's a thing.
But I think
and it's
there's-
ass pizza.
Or
Yeah.
Sean Crawford.
yeah, or Sean. Yeah.
No, and you know, and like I think that stuff is sick, but it's kind of like I think it's great that now there's time for the young guys to kind of come up and start to be there.
Are there any?
And some are quiet, you know,
Yeah.
like you've got like an Adam Zoo, right, who is really pulling what's here downtown into this culture, and he's doing a great job from what I can tell. I can't hang out because I can't be creeping, you know. But from what I can see, they're doing a great job. And these kind of skate crews downtown, you know, the evolution of graffiti, which is a little weird, but
Right.
we're seeing it happen, and we'll kind of see the new leaders in the next couple of years for
So
sure.
when you say the kids are all right, despite like the TikTokification and all like the old man yells at cloud shit we could do all day, you feel bullish on the future of
we have to
downtown
be,
here? Well,
you know,
yeah.
because we're gonna have the Great Reckoning, which will get rid of a lot of the problems. Not problems, but just gets rid of like the
Yeah.
fake stuff.
Sure.
Right? Because if
Trims
you're
the fat.
This is what literally
Yeah.
Angelo Bache said about COVID. He's like, the best thing that happened out of COVID is like
Everyone
people
home.
fucking bounced
yeah.
the fuck out of
I
it.
mean, everybody that should have
Yeah.
got cheap rents,
Right.
But now they all kicked back out to Brooklyn again, unfortunately. So like that will be a problem of. I mean, downtown's just an idea anyway, right? It's not so much of a location.
Are you a Brooklyn hater, just real quick? Speaking of two Brooklyn
It's
guys.
like my LA thing, right? So like before I started going to born and raised in LA, it was just like the hobby was just like talk shit, right? And same with Brooklyn, right? Like we don't go over the bridge.
Yeah.
My wife Barbara's even more hardcore with it, right? So when we go to Brooklyn, she texts everyone that we know in Brooklyn. Like, hey, we're coming over the bridge today.
Like it's some big fucking deal.
It's also gigantic.
Yeah.
So like you see this guy over here and it's an hour drive to see the other guy.
Sure.
But they're all on the text thread. It's like, all right, we have to go
Brooklyn
to Fort
Day.
Greene, we have to go
Yeah.
to Williamsburg. It's like, yeah, but those are not near each other.
Making
So
the rounds.
I don't hate it, but I
Not your cup of tea.
I love the density of Manhattan.
Right.
Right.
Right, because you can go from neighborhood to neighborhood in a few minutes. You can walk.
Every time I come to Manhattan, I see you.
Yeah.
That's how it is.
Yeah, but also like I go out the door and 5 minutes I see somebody.
Right.
Exactly.
Just stop and chat for
Because
sure.
we're also like located in such a crazy
You're in the heart of
neighborhood.
it. You're in the
Yeah.
trenches. Wait, so
But
what?
it's a
What
big
are
stop
the?
and chat neighborhood.
It is a big stop and chat. You can spend a whole day just stopping and chatting.
Big stop
But
and chat
so,
city.
What are some legends? Some downtown legends. You mentioned Aaron.
Okay.
That we should get on the pod.
So
yeah.
That you think?
I mean, Aaron has stories for days.
all right, book it. Let's go to Miami.
Kunle, if he feels like talking, has stories for days.
his name's been thrown around.
Tony
before,
can
too.
talk,
Yeah.
and Tony has stories. Tony was really the first, right? And not just Tony, all three, right? So
Rob.
Jess, Rob, Arnaud, and Tony, like they made something that, as far as I know, had never been done before,
Yeah.
right?
A-Life is the source for a lot of this, for sure.
Yeah, and he can articulate it in a way that I probably can't.
I think you're doing a great job today, buddy.
Thank
Give
you.
yourself some credit.
Serge Becker.
Who's that?
Serge started the Box, La Esquina.
Oh, okay. So a nightlife guy.
Yeah, what's the...
Food and hospitality.
Yeah, food and hospitality, but just like total
Lasky,
legend.
Rich as fuck.
Area nightclub, like
Sure.
crazy stuff, right? He's in LA now, like chilling, but
Like a lot of
Yeah,
these guys
him.
I'm sure you're
Yeah.
mentioning.
Clark Kent, stories
Yeah.
for days,
Shout out
right?
Clark.
He's supposed to go on recently.
Clark saved me from getting fired as the sneaker guy, basically at Complex.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I knew it, and I was kind of
You
like,
knew that sneakers were a thing.
it was a thing, and I studied it hard, and it's like I was like, this is my job. I better figure this shit out really fast.
Oh, you were
because-
learning on the job.
Yeah, and like everybody wants this job, so
Yeah.
I better like become an expert tomorrow.
Right.
And
Did
so
you
we
like Jordan flashcards? You're like, that's a 4.
I did actually.
Oh, really?
I had a little sheet under my desk
Dude.
with all of them.
Oh my
A little
God.
Jordan cheat sheet.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I grew up in Long Island. Like I love Jordans, but like I didn't have them.
Right.
My
Right.
parents
Every time
were
there's
going to buy them for me.
a new model, you have to like add on to the fucking
You had
cheat
to
sheet.
learn your Jordan multiplication tables.
For real.
When I interviewed at Complex, I got tested on Jordans.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Damn.
I'm not gonna say who, but he's like, "Do you even know the culture?" And I'm like, "What?" And he's like, "What Jordan is that?" I'm like, "It's a 5." And he's like, "Okay, good." I'm like, "What?"
Certified.
I think the first Jordans I like noticed were the 4s, like the cool gray 4s.
Sure.
Some kid had them. And I was like, oh, that's cool. My mom's like, yeah, good luck. You know?
So DJ Clark Kent
But yeah,
saved.
Clark, like by interviewing Clark,
God's favorite DJ.
we didn't talk about this yet, but I worked at Complex for 7 or 8 years. That's kind of how I learned everything about New York.
That's a lot of
I was
years.
gonna say, it's
I
a long
got
prison
to-
bid, bro. Longer than ours.
Yeah. But they threw me right into it because they're like, oh, we can pay this kid no money and he'll do what we say. Right.
And how it
was the
goes over there.
Complex was one of the first magazines to really do like payola, right?
Right.
Like
Sure.
you buy an ad, we put your shit in the magazine.
Absolutely.
Right. And so like, Bradley, you can put 60% of what you think is cool and then 40% of what we tell you.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, cool. So I got to figure out like the cool sneakers and have enough cool sneakers in here that we can put the shitty sneakers next to them.
Okay, then we'll get Tree Torn in the mix and fucking whoever else.
Or whatever, you know, Royal
Puma.
Elastics.
Puma.
Stacey Adams.
But then as we got, I guess maybe my chronology is not that strong because we were doing internet stuff with Clark. So that was actually much later. But he kind of like was able to provide this level of insight.
Yeah.
Like, what are the 50 greatest Air Force Ones? And he can talk for 2 hours and take you through the list. So we did it with Clark. We did it with Bun B. We did it with Mayer. It's like all those kind of like true historians.
Yeah.
Was how I was like, okay, cool. This is why this is cool. This is how it works. And that's kind of been my story. Like I get thrown into the mix, try to figure it out, and then later I get the like detail.
Right.
Like unfortunately when we had to go to LA, when Spanto passed, I spent 4 weeks there, right? In Venice hard, right? Meeting Venice guys, understanding how Venice works. And then like, oh shit, I wish I knew this like 5 years
Yeah,
ago.
right.
Like how the neighborhood works, who these
Better late
people
than
are.
never, though. But you know,
Sure. And like that's been my style. Like throw into the mix and then like later you're like,
Yeah.
oh, that's who that guy was. Or
Right.
like that's why.
your whole career is better late than never. I respect that. Dude.
Broad strokes
Yeah.
first, then you fill in the details.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then you can also, it's also about like feeling who's legit, right? Like, oh, I don't know exactly, like the first time I met Serge, I was like, I don't really know who this guy is, but like you can feel that he knows what's going on.
Sure, yeah.
And he's hugely responsible for so much that happened downtown.
Yeah. Is that a
So
church?
all the legend guys, yeah, I think those
All
are
right.
Why don't you wrote down their names? We
Open
got it.
invite
All right.
for all the fellas.
and then what about like, did you guys do Joe yet?
Joel Puma?
Bro.
Yeah?
Come on.
He,
man.
he won't do it because
He refuses.
Oh,
Scared.
because he's a podcaster.
No. This is before he was a podcast. He was like, why would I do this shit?
Do we have you to thank for sneaker shopping?
No, but Joe was my intern.
But you developed and nurtured this sneaker boy into a sneaker head.
I mean, Joe was always very good at it, and Joe was kind of, I guess I had a lot of interns that came through the door that I didn't even realize, you know? Because I was there for
else?
so long that I probably had 40 or 50 interns.
Damn. Any other notables?
Karen Rose,
Okay.
who does Amorier. It's like these crazy glasses, and she did very well for herself.
Noah Johnson. Was he an intern?
He wasn't an intern, though.
Okay.
He replaced me
Oh, shit.
when I left.
The Ringer.
But I kind of like a lot of different people came in and out.
Cedar?
Yango, who's
Oh,
now at
yeah,
GQ.
right. He's at GQ.
Was Cedar in it? Cedar Pasori, was she an intern?
Not for me.
Okay.
But like we were all in the same.
Yeah.
Tommy Campos did the
Oh,
fashion
dude.
closet.
Whew.
So like it
OVO
was-
legend.
Yeah. There's a lot of people that went through those doors, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Complex University.
But Joe refined all this stuff, right? Because
yeah.
he was the intern, like, all right, you're not going to get a job, so you can have the internet, right? Because
This thing that will never be.
everyone at the magazine was
Yeah.
too high on themselves to do internet.
Yeah.
So Joe and
this
Bucky,
printing will never stop printing money.
yeah. So Joe and Bucky were in charge of the internet, right?
Damn.
Which was wild.
And that set him up for the rest of his fucking. He's a lifer, dude.
And Joe invented the click-through that nobody knows about.
Get,
do you
to
mean?
get as many page views as possible.
Yeah, because that was a big remit from Complex. They're like, you got to get your page views up.
Yeah.
And so they
The slideshow.
they invented the slideshow for real. I don't think
Joe
anybody
the
did it
slideshow.
before.
Joe LePage views.
For real. Because it was the wire ended that at that time, right? So Joe and Bucky were like, let's do like the top 5 burner phones that you can buy right now.
Sick.
And they put it in a slideshow instead of like a blog post. So they're like, oh shit, we just got 5 clicks instead of 1.
Wow.
And then Gawker saw that.
Math.
They ripped it off.
Woo!
And then
What did BuzzFeed? And then full circle,
saw
BuzzFeed
it.
bought Complex.
Yeah, so it all kind of comes.
Damn, dude, Joe LaPuma invented slideshows.
Internet poetic justice.
Crazy, dude.
Yeah.
Wow.
Beautiful.
So that's like a Midtown legend because we were on
23rd.
36th and then 23rd.
Oh, we weren't at the 36th shoot off.
No, we were.
But when I was an
23rd.
intern, I used to take the train from Long Island because I didn't have the money to live here yet.
Straight to Penn
So I
Station.
would get off at Penn Station and walk to 36,
Yeah.
which is like the methadone
Sure.
district. So I was just like, oh, this is New York. New York is rough. You know, like I come to New York always growing up, but I just was like, oh, that's what New York is. It's like, you got to be careful. There's like sketchy people everywhere. But then I realized that like I was on like the 3 sketchiest blocks of all of Manhattan.
That's
Totally.
the armpit of Manhattan for sure.
Yeah.
It's also like a magical McDonald's where like there's like there's the McDonald's on 37th and 8th, which is like a huge junkie McDonald's. So
Right.
it's like tourists and junkies like hanging out
Beautiful,
together,
dude.
which is amazing.
That's the melting pot,
Yeah.
man.
and now the other
McDonald's
one is right
bathroom.
here. That bathroom is insane. And then the other one is here
Yeah.
on Delancey
Well,
and
Delancey's
Essex.
the most.
That's
gotta be-
that's Fallujah.
Yeah.
That's a war zone.
It's insane.
Yeah.
That's fucking Gaza.
It's like,
bro.
oh, there was a guy swinging an axe at the McDonald's, but
And he lost the fight.
Yeah.
yeah, and they just put up like a BRB sign, like come back in 15 minutes. We're taking care of somebody swinging an axe inside
Wiping
McDonald's.
brains off the fryer.
Yeah. The axe guy lost to a dude with like a mace. Just like it's
Yeah.
like fucking an RPG game, dude. Just leveling up weapons and spells.
So that's why New York isn't dead, right? Because
No,
right.
there's these things that you just can't clear out.
No, as long as there's an axe in a McDonald's, New York will
that
live
McDonald's
forever.
is always going to be there. The Bowery is untamable. You know?
Sheesh. I mean, talk about a fucking tough scene, dude.
Yeah.
Speaking of injuries, Bradley, you're
yeah.
coming up on 10 years since the accident that changed your life.
Yeah.
Has there been like a single biggest takeaway or insight that you've developed over this decade of, this era of your life?
I have a therapist that like does trauma. That's how we met. She does a lot of wheelchair stuff and like how we get through it. And I, at the early stages of like me talking to her, it was always like, oh, how have you changed? How have I changed? How does this thing change you? And she's like, the reality is you don't change, right? You just become more of who you are, right? And like levels of trauma kind of intensify the things that are there, right? And I kind of find one of my like go-to lines is that like you meet people that have either been through shit or that have not, right? If you live long enough, something will happen to you, right? Hopefully it's not just like your cat dying,
Right.
Like once you've been through some shit, you like have a different point of view and you can recognize other people that have also been through it, right? So it's more of just you hope that it makes you better, and for me, I think it has, right?
Yeah.
Like I always wanted to play the game like don't burn bridges, like what's the thing like work hard, have fun,
Work hard, play hard?
yeah. But just like be good, right?
Yeah.
Work hard, have fun, be good, right? So
No malice.
yeah, or like if you're putting negativity into the world is just not helpful, right? And so like that was kind of like so many people came out for me when I got hurt that now it's like I had already paid in pretty hard before, but now it's like a continual kind of like paying out coming off
Wow.
this, right? Like New York lifted me up super, super hard when I got hurt. Because usually I broke my neck. It's for anyone who wants to know, it's like I have a C5 complete injury. So I can move my arms, but like I'm considered quadriplegic. Usually that takes like 3 to 5 years to get back into your life. I got hurt in February and I was in New York in October.
Damn.
And like I
Back in
shouldn't
work or just like back in the mix?
both.
Fucking beast mode, bro.
Yeah, but that's just
You're like the Aaron Rodgers of snowboard accidents.
For real, dude.
But that's also like a testament to like the New York community, right?
Right.
And that's also kind of like all these themes that we keep talking about, right? It's like get in the scene, pay your dues, get next to people, support people as best you can, and it will come back.
Yeah.
And all these people that are like taking, if you can like step back from yourself and be like, am I taking more than I'm giving?
Right.
You might want to check it because the reckoning is coming.
Sure.
Right?
That's what I say, right? Show love to get love, man.
For
And
real.
The people had you ready for the playoffs.
And
In
it's
October,
small.
he's
This
back.
world is small.
Mr.
right?
October, yeah.
So if you're TikToking and just taking and like cashing in,
Sure.
figure out a way to like put it back in because it comes around.
There's good people on TikTok, I imagine.
No, and I'm not like TikTok hating. I also don't go on it because I don't need another.
Sure.
I need every minute, so like I don't need an hour a day like going to that.
Do you ever think about like the parallel timeline where the accident doesn't happen, or is that like counterproductive and just like not a constructive way to I don't know, think about life?
I think that things would definitely be different, and I would have different sets of resources. It would be a completely different path, for sure. Because, also now with the wheelchair, I have less time during the day. It takes me 2 hours to get ready in the morning. It takes me an hour to go to sleep at night. I do physical therapy. It's like I'm already at, most people you get 8, 8, 8, right? Like 8 hours sleeping, 8 hours working, 8 hours making yourself better. Or if you're 20, you 8 hours getting fucked up.
Yeah, right.
So like now I'm
At least you got to experience that, by the way.
Yeah, and I did, and that's like not hidden anywhere. But like,
get to it.
I'm on a 12 and 12 now.
Okay.
So like I have 12 hours where I'm like getting ready and sleeping, and 12 hours where I can do stuff. So like I have to be much more focused and much more organized to like get all my shit done
Efficient.
every day.
Yeah.
Have you gotten better at every other aspect of your life in terms of like things you want to do and the things you want to leave as your legacy?
I mean, everything is about efficiency and like making sure that the time makes sense, right? And trying to give people time as well, which is the hardest part, right? Because I have less time to get everything done, but then it's like, how do we find new talent? How do we like get jobs? And how do you do a good job in less time?
What do you do for like your me time? Like when it's just like what do you do when it's just Bradley? Because like you're saying, like every moment is so important, and then like someone like us, it's just like I feel like maybe I'm like wasting a lot of time just indulging in whatever.
Yeah, you
stupid
are.
thing. Yeah,
But this stuff is pretty fun because it's like we get to reflect and kind of go back and like kind of dig into some channels.
But do you indulge in any or do you not waste a single fucking second?
I hang out in the sun, which is the opposite of living in the shadows.
Right.
But like
you go golden retriever mode and you just
I just like
bask.
lie in the sun and I find the water, like the closest water, and I just take the time and sit in the sun.
Long Island boy at heart.
Yeah.
For real. I mean, I grew up on the beach, and that's
Beach
just
boy
what
at
it
heart.
is.
Take the boy out of the beach, but not the
so
beach
we're
out
in
of the boy.
Miami in the winter, right?
Yeah.
So that's sun for real. And then here I got the East River, which is like a few blocks from my apartment. So like if it's just me, that's what I do. I go sit in the sun, and I either like do nothing. I speak to my people that aren't here, right? And then if I'm with Barbara, we go to restaurants because that's what happens when you start to get older.
Sure.
Is that date night? Like just like going to whatever fire restaurant is on your checklist?
Yeah, but most restaurants we go to are pretty chill.
Okay.
Like she's very good at finding very good food and like low pretentious.
Right. No hype. No bullshit.
Yeah.
Nice. That's a great quality. Can use some of that.
And then every once in a while we go out, which is now it's like 1 to 4 times a year that we really go.
What are you talking about? Like, well, you're just in Ibiza. Like, what's this fucking scene report in Ibiza right now?
What's the what in Ibiza?
The scene report. What's going on there?
Yeah.
So I'd never been somehow.
Okay.
I watched Ibiza in Wild on E in like '94. And I was
One
like,
day.
For real.
That'll be me.
One day I'll marry an Italian babe and get to go to Ibiza.
I don't know. Like as 13-year-old me, I was like, that looks awesome. There's like nightclubs, it's an island.
Babes, bikinis.
Yeah.
And then I never went, And but Barbara used to go all the time. Like every summer she would go. It's like what Italians do.
Right.
So yeah, we went there for our little vacation. We've had a really rough year. And so we're like just like emotionally and just like crazy shit happening. So we're like, we got to get away. And so Barbara's like, yeah, let's go to Ibiza. And
Realize your childhood
it's
dream.
tight. In a way, yes.
Is it still like what you saw in '94, but maybe the thong bikinis are a little like less high waisted?
Yeah, a little lower.
Right.
Little
And the
low rise.
costumes are a little less creative, probably.
Yeah.
But I mean, obviously, money has come to the island in an unprecedented way.
Sure.
Like everywhere. Also, like this island, Manhattan, island life.
The Ibiza of America.
Yeah.
Irie.
I mean, I only stay on the islands.
Yeah.
I do Manhattan, South Beach,
Long.
and now
dude.
Ibiza.
Damn, you really are an island boy.
Yeah.
Went to
Fuck.
Crete last year, so like I stick to the islands.
By the water.
Yeah.
He
likes what he likes.
Because she knew it, and we knew some other people on the island, we got to go to like the really kind of like small restaurant on the beach type of vibes.
Right.
And then we went to DC 10 for the closing party, which is cool. But the problem right now
You
is
hit Pasha?
no, we didn't.
You didn't see Solomon?
No, but I know people that have gone. But like my problem right now is with electronic music is it's really dark. And I love electronic music, but I like disco and like fun music.
You want to be uplifted?
Yeah, I don't need to like be in like a dark basement, like heavy beats
Yeah.
where everyone's on ketamine.
You're not on the
It's not-
ketamine, yeah.
It's not my thing.
Right.
I love like fun stuff.
The
And-
ecstasy music.
Yeah, for real.
Molly
You know?
music.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like
Molly music.
and for real, like the boys clubs.
Yeah.
That's the best music. You know,
Yeah.
like Horse Meat Disco, DJ Harvey, Eric Duncan. Like that's fun.
Yeah.
So like if I'm going out, like that's
With
I
the
try to like
boys.
time it. You
With
know,
the
and like
fellas.
the boys.
Yeah.
And I was lucky because my roommate when I was hurt, but also like before, a close friend Mons really got me like into a lot of those scenes.
Shout out Mons.
Yeah.
What's he
Oh
up
yeah,
to?
you guys know Mons. We're going to see Harvey tomorrow night.
Hell yeah.
At Night Moves?
Yeah, we're allowed to like. I guess this will
it's
already have
gonna come out,
happened,
yeah.
which is perfect.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
But like through Mons, I met all those guys, right? And so I spent a lot of my time in the DJ booth rather than on the floor. So we did a bunch of Horse Meat Discos in the DJ booth. And then when I got hurt, DJ booths are usually up steps, right?
Yeah.
So then I went to my first Horse Meat Disco on the floor in the wheelchair. And I didn't realize that like there's a lot of dicks out. like lots.
Yeah.
And they're kind of at face level for you now. a
Yeah,
little bit,
like
right?
really
Yeah.
like at eye level.
Yeah.
It's like that was like a pretty big wake up call.
An eye opener.
Yeah,
Truly.
I was like, oh, I love these parties. And I was like, maybe
Whoa.
like it's a lot.
Is that tap on my shoulder? What the fuck? Oh, shit.
People have sex at these parties?
Like for real.
Yeah.
And I was like, maybe I should start paying attention.
Is it true that Mons used to, on like snowboard and ski trips, he would sleep on the floor with a lip full of snooze and just headphones blasting electronic music through the whole night?
That is accurate.
Fire.
One of my favorite Mon stories is we went to Coachella and we were in VIP and he just put the headphones in.
Sick, dude.
So like we went to the parties and when we had to go to the actual concert, he just listened to his own music. Because he's like, he could care less about
Yeah,
like,
right.
whoever
That's
it was.
awesome, dude.
That's the Mons Roller Boy way.
Damn.
Yeah.
Well, you've been in New York for 20 years, like we mentioned, and you've nearly hit the New York City media triple crown, right? Well, you've yet to be profiled in the New Yorker like us. Your incredible wedding was featured in the New York Times, and I reread it in preparation for this interview. And if you want a good cry, highly recommend reading that. And you also got
It's
your
also the most succinct bio, I think. Like it's like,
Is it?
If people are like, oh, who is this guy? It's like a pretty good.
It's
It's
a
a little
long
bit
article.
lovey-dovey, but like
Yeah.
it's which it should be. You know,
Absolutely.
but it's also like a quick like, oh, cool. That's who those two are. Like they're
Right.
in New York. They get shit done. They work with all these people, and like they have like really great friends.
yeah, they were just casually hooking up, and then they realized that they were in love.
Yeah.
You know, as
For
it
real.
goes.
But also, Barbara came back after I got hurt, and she was like, "Fuck you, this is happening."
Yeah.
I know we'll talk to that, but like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's really special.
Well, do you think that if you hadn't gotten hurt, that you and Barbara might not have ended up together?
Wow. Big question. Only.
I don't know if I should go on the record with that, but I was a bit hard to pin down.
Yeah.
You know, so
Which came through in the
it's
article.
Possible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a lot of men in this city. Let's be real.
I think men in New York celebrate their position.
Their Peter
Absolutely.
Pan-ness?
Yeah, you can be a kid forever.
Yeah.
And you can
Until you're
keep
50.
you can keep trying to upgrade whether or not
Absolutely.
you do it, you
Yeah.
know? But like that's
No
the
car,
problem is,
no owners in this town, just leasers, you know?
yeah, it's like the male wanderlust that like
Yeah.
New York like really
Encourages.
coddles and like and now with the internet it's like so much worse.
Yeah.
Right?
Gotta catch them all.
Yeah. But
okay,
what,
but-
rewind. I forget what we were.
So your
Oh,
wedding
please,
story,
sir.
your wedding story was in the New York Times.
Oh,
Beautiful.
the triple crown. It's
Yes.
actually the Grand Slam because I forgot about New York Mag.
Oh, true.
What's the mag thing, real quick? What was
I
that?
haven't done it. I'm not
Oh,
in it.
So,
yet.
so you're,
that's
you're
what
2
you're
for
saying.
4. You're 50% of the way
So
there
I'm
because
halfway.
you also got your photo named the New York Post. What's the
Is
story
that
with the
paywall stuff though?
What's the story with the Post article?
Is that paywall or we just keep
Like
it
right
going?
now? This is out in the
Is
open.
the post article paywalled, or is what we're talking about right now paywalled? What's the?
I think the story behind the post is probably paywalled.
It's not.
Oh, it is readily
Oh,
available.
sorry, the story behind the...
no,
your
no, no,
story.
like us talking about.
Oh, you want
is
to save it?
behind paywall.
Yeah, we can save it.
Save for the paywall.
Yeah, because I got
Yeah.
a job.
You
and
gotta
a
pay good money for that,
business
people.
and,
Yeah,
like-
but I will say that the article is readily available. But I will say, I don't know if James mentioned, you look spectacularly handsome in your photo. We'll just leave it at that.
I've also spent the last 10 years working on getting my Google results to kind of push that down a
Like
little
paying
bit.
somebody or just like leveling up press opportunities.
Doing this
and-
stuff,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
You want my podcast? Yes.
Yeah, please.
Let's work on my Google search.
We'll optimize your SEO so that
Yeah.
it buries it down
I think-
to page 2.
I think we've already said too much. Let's save it
Yeah.
for the afters.
You got to know what to
But
Google
yeah,
to
let's
find
talk
it.
about the Grand Slam of New York. That's how maybe that's also how, if you weren't born on the island, how you kind of get it done, right? Because it used to be New York 10 years, you're a New Yorker. But if you
not anymore.
actually are here for 10 years, you learn that that's not how it works.
Agreed.
It's like being smart enough to know that you don't know.
Wow. Damn, I guess I'm a fucking dummy then.
Well, you know what I know? It's time to move into the next segment of the podcast, which is called
A little sucking and fucking.
Meats and Cheeks.
Sex and dating, or marriage in your case.
What is the best thing about being married to an Italian woman?
The best thing,
And I don't think she's listening right now, so you can be completely honest.
Barbara's at the
right? She'll listen to this. Though.
Okay, you're right. Yeah.
The best part about the Italian culture is that they get shit done quickly.
Really?
Actually, no.
Italians?
Well, let me be very specific.
Not
about it.
emails and not working.
Not emails, which I've learned, which is amazing because
They're too busy
actually, hold
making
on.
love.
Let's get to the email thing first, but in a second. If you get in a fight, it's a 30-minute fight.
Oh, fire.
Where with American women, it's a 2-week long
30-year fight.
Yeah. Where it's oh, remember when you did that thing or
yeah.
you didn't show up or they hold it against you? In Italian, it's this just happened. This was wrong. We're going to fight about it right now. And then we're going to go get dinner,
Pasta.
which is great. And it's also giving me a lot of insight into how to work professionally with the
They
culture.
have short memories. It's ragu brain.
No, but they're also it's happening now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't need to hold on to these negative
Passionate
feelings.
people that live in the moment.
My emotions are happening right now.
Yeah.
Right. And I want to tell you about it right now.
And then I'm hungry, so I'm going to go eat.
I'm trying to talk to the computer and I got this stuff to do. It's yeah, but I have to tell you about what happened right now.
Yeah.
If it's good or bad or whatever. So I think that that's something that.
And in your position, that efficiency is very crucial because every second counts. 'Cause
Great.
you're yo, babe, I only got 12 hours here.
Yeah. But it's also amazing for this you don't deal with the passive aggressive bullshit. That's a very common part about being in a relationship in the United States.
Yeah.
Right? How could you do this to me?
Yeah.
It's I'm sorry.
I'm not mad.
What? Yeah. What can I do? I bought
Right.
the flowers. We got
Just
dinner.
tell
It's
me.
still not cool.
Yeah.
Just tell me what to do.
So that's great.
But she's terrible at emailing.
Yes. But it's also pretty funny because now I work with companies in Japan, I work with companies in Italy, US, and there's different email strategies for each of the cultures.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The Italians actually want you to write a book. For
real?
the email.
Really?
Yeah. They're we would like
So
to
it's
work with you.
one
And you're
and done.
cool, I would love to work with you. Here is the strategy outline. Here's my bio. Here's everything. Where Americans, I remember when I
Circle
first started
back.
working at Adidas, I got in trouble. I did a party with Eddie Wong. We did a Chinese New Year
Shout
party.
out Eddie.
Right? But when Eddie was someone was oh, this guy's cool. I was yeah, he seems cool.
Were you doing
let's
the
do this
Four
thing.
Loco parties and
It was right after
hot
that.
Cheeto bows?
Right.
Yeah.
And it's I didn't know how to throw a party for real because I only knew how to tell people to go to a place.
You only knew how to party.
Right. I didn't know how to do a party. Right. So I was oh, cool. We pay these guys. The party will happen. And so the Adidas people were yo, you fucked this up. It was a bunch of idiots and it was a mess. It was also pretty good looking back.
Right.
But
just too much chaos?
Yeah.
so I wrote my boss a really, really long, I'm really, really sorry email. He's don't ever do that again. He's don't ever email me more than 3 sentences
Right,
ever
wasting
again.
my time.
You start with hi, name, and you end with thank you, and then you have 3 sentences to get your point across.
I like that.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I was very good. Maybe that's hyper German, but that's also a great way to work in New York.
I agree.
But the Italians want a book.
I don't want to write a book. I don't want to read
Is
a
that
book.
because they're only going to hit you back one time over the course of 4 months? So we just got to get it all the
Or they're
information.
going to
there?
read it. They're actually going to read it.
Mi scusi, it took so long. I was reading a book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They need an excuse for the delay.
Yeah.
And they want that long email as said excuse.
What about Japan, though?
Japan is more about being respectful and formal, and then again having your core chunk,
Right.
and easy to translate.
Sure.
Oh, easy to translate. Huge.
And I think all that stuff goes back to early English class, right? It's what's your main idea? First sentence. I'm writing because
Thesis.
And
In
then here's the
conclusion.
clarity. Yeah. And then thank
Therefore.
you. Yes. Thank you
Therefore,
for
please
giving
pay
me
me.
a job.
Yeah.
Yes.
Therefore, net 30.
Yeah.
And then the other part of the Italian culture is there's the food, which is amazing,
of course.
right?
How nice is she in the kitchen?
Barbara never cooked until pandemic.
What's her best dish? In your opinion?
I mean, pandemic became like, I'm going to learn how to cook because we can't eat out anymore. So she reverse engineered everything. She knows how it has to taste. And then she goes into the work.
I love that.
Which is amazing. So like, there's no like, I can make a pretty good ragu. It's like, if we're making ragu, like, this is how it has to taste. So we have to figure out how to do this.
I love that.
And now her like repertoire is insane.
Fire.
The problem is it's really fucking up our like restaurant game.
Right.
Because there's less and less restaurants that we can go to because they're not as good as
Wow,
what
as
we
her,
eat.
the bar has been, the gauntlet has been thrown, the bar has been raised.
It's a total mess.
And that bar is Barbara. She puts the bar in Barbara.
Yeah.
This is true.
What's the
So
worst thing about
basically-
being married to an Italian woman?
All of the same things.
Yeah. The other side of every
They're like
fucking coin.
heavy
Every
immediate
lira.
aggression, you know.
A fiery people.
Yeah, it's a very passionate people, and but I really like it. It's great. Like
Yeah.
I like it's we have a amazing relationship. I've met so many great people, like, and I really like the Italians and the Italian culture, and so I'm down.
When did you know that she was the one?
I'm pretty slow to like make any real decisions. I guess I don't know. It's like kind of like the curse of trying to see every single angle. So like we dated, then I got hurt, and then we weren't dating, and then we kind of came back together. And Barbara's a huge part of my recovery, plus the whole New York, bringing everyone together. And I think it just came with time. And then I was super fixated on getting better when I broke my neck. I didn't realize that you can't get better. So my narrative was like, oh, when I'm better, we'll do this. When I'm better, we'll do this. And Barbara was like, yo, like, you're not going to get better, and I love you like this.
Right.
Homie, wake up.
Yeah. And I was like, and then I had my moment of clarity, like, okay, cool. I have someone that is completely and fully dedicated to me. And yeah, this is great.
When you say better, are you like meaning physically and mentally, or like
Physically. Like I'm going to.
You were naive to
when
like-
I'm walking around. And it's like, no, that's not.
Right.
What's up?
Is she like the realist in the relationship, and you're like the
dreamer?
explorer?
Right brain, left brain.
Yeah, I don't know. I think we both complement each other very well. So maybe we're Spanto and two-tone. We're two people on the wrong side of the
Same side of the seesaw.
seesaw.
Same side of the seesaw.
Barbara and I are on two different seesaws, but,
Two different playgrounds.
but they're hyper complementary, right?
right.
And we work together sometimes. So like that's what's really cool because we do our own projects. That way we're not too much in each other's thing.
Right.
But then sometimes we can come together, and also because our work is our life. Even though that's not how Italians operate.
Sure.
The Italians want life, like they want to live life. They don't give a fuck about work.
Mm-hmm.
But like in New York, you have to have both.
Yeah.
Especially when you only have 12 hours. You have to like make your friends, you also your business partners and all
Right,
that
right.
stuff.
Speaking of work, Brad, how much money do you make?
I have no idea. I don't touch money.
Really?
Yeah.
Woo!
I don't
Bars.
touch money. What do you like to spend your
It's
money on?
all the
Okay,
gold's in the wheelchair.
besides upgrading your wheelchair every 5 years, how often?
It's supposed to be 5. It's
3.
more like 2 to 3.
Okay, besides upgrading the hardware, besides going out to dinner, besides travel, what do you like to spend your hard-earned money on?
Since most of my friends make clothes, I don't buy a lot of clothes.
Right.
I buy Stone Island.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
They gift a little bit, but they're not really into it.
Shout out
It's not
Dustin.
really a European thing, flow.
Also, they're family business.
Right.
I mean, not now,
Yeah, I would
but
say Montclair would agree.
they
to
were a
disagree.
family business until like, a couple
They're
weeks
a
ago.
family
Yeah,
business. Now
so-
they're a family business with a
Yeah.
B.
But
Big B's.
so they take it very seriously. So they don't take like giving away their work, which I
Yeah.
think is really cool.
I also think European brands aren't really the concept of flow or like influencer seating isn't really a thing as much over there. Feels like.
Yeah, and I think that we're also entering a stage where the value of influencer gifting is
Oh, bro.
we who
always
cares?
We'll like create something and we're like, we're not gonna seed shit because
Yeah.
it's truly fucking pointless. With that said, we love getting great stuff from our friends and promoting them.
Right.
So
But then it
that's on
doesn't.
more
It
of
rarely
a
has
homie
as
level.
much value when it's free, right?
yeah.
But we use gifting whenever we're doing a project to like thank everybody that helped us,
Right.
along the way, And I think without being too like whatever, like virtue-y signaling, like I spend money on my friends and the people that help me.
like supporting their, like buying into their businesses and their products, or just
whatever
like
it is, yeah.
gifting and
Buy
helping?
their shit, pay for dinner, like you know, like I have like a crew of guys that help me a lot, you know, so it's like, yeah, you help me drive around, I pay you, like,
right.
That's so the money is
Moms,
like,
here, have some snooze.
yeah,
on me.
you know, or like, you know, this guy Aaron, he's a brand, Aaron Maldonado, he's a brand called Brigade, super student of the game, like. So like more than anybody I've ever met before, right? Like studying, like how did this brand work? How did this brand work? How does this go? He should be on this in a year or two.
Yeah, he might be taking our product photos as well.
You know, but like works his ass off, you know, and he's starting to hit.
No, Brigade is fucking happening, dude. Shout out Aaron.
Right? So like Aaron and I drive around a lot, you know, it's our, you know, and that's kind of how we like exchange information. You know, he learns from me, I learn from him. But again, like it's not free, right?
No.
I'm taking up his day, and so it's like cool. Like
you're generous. Well, I mean, I guess it's like you're understanding the value that these people provide, not just on an emotional level, but like, yeah, time is money, especially in this city. It's like, yo, that's worth something.
Yeah, and if somebody gives you their time, you need to reciprocate in some way. So maybe they get a free pair of sneakers, maybe you pay them. What do I spend money on? Like, not much. Like art, homes, like
Your crib
you
is
know?
incredible, bro.
Yeah, and you know, it's a work in progress, but like, yeah, it's like, I don't know, I love art, so like that's cool. We get this stuff, but again, a lot of it's like friends do it,
Yeah,
you know,
right.
and so it's for me, it's about like the money is a way to like re-participate in the ecosystem.
Right. What's the most expensive restaurant you frequent, though? Like we talk about, like the low key, no hype, chill vibes. You know, no crowds or lines. But like, are you ever fucking splashing out at the grill?
I've been there. I've been to most of the restaurants, like most of the like
a
a
line.
spot, right?
Yeah.
But it's not that fun to me.
Like the hypey ones, or like
Yeah,
the fine
like
dining.
The
or both.
like
Yeah.
either super fine dining or super hypey. Unless you're going with your crew.
Yeah.
You know? That's when it's fun. When it's like boys' night or like whatever, or like a birthday, and then you really do it.
100%, bro. That's why like Luger's exists for the fellas. Like,
Yeah.
And
It's
a
just
steakhouse.
the fun,
Yeah.
you know?
True.
But then you really need to make it, you need to make a night of it,
Yeah.
right? Because if you're going to go have steak at 9 or 10,
we
you better
get-
go out till 4 or 5.
You're drinking those water bottles after.
Yeah, but you can't digest that. Especially once you break like 35, there's no way.
Yeah.
You're not going to sleep, so you better stay up.
We
right?
hitting those. We snorting some Tums.
yeah.
So where do you go in New York? I don't know. I think we try, even the fancy places that we go to are still relatively low key, right? It's like, oh, like we got a table at Isodi, or we got a table at Res Dora, or whatever, you know, like those are baller spots, but they're chill.
Right.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like in Miami, there aren't chill spots.
No.
So we wind up going to
Anti-chill.
like,
Everything's just spectacle.
so you're like, go to dinner, it's costing you like $100+ per person. And you're like, what am I eating?
Yeah.
Trying to
What's
think.
the fucking steakhouse in the lobby of the hotel that has the Damien Hirst gold?
Oh,
woolly
yeah.
mammoth
I actually
in
been
the
there
lobby.
with
I've been there too.
Oh, at
Isn't it-
Francis Malman
Faina,
Steakhouse.
At
yeah.
Faina.
Yeah.
the Faina.
I mean, the Baz Luhrmann lobby in Faina is amazing.
It is
Like-
crazy.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like, as I get older, like I contradict myself now because I wear a uniform, I don't wear much, but like I'm getting more into this like tacky, or what was once
Maximalist?
tacky. Like I love the gold watch that I have. I love like subtle gold chains. Like this kind of like,
You're spending a lot of time in Miami, bro.
Yeah, honestly,
I'm going
it's
to
one of
Miami.
You're gonna get a BBL.
I
we wouldn't even be able to see it.
I'm from Long Island, right? So like
So the tackiness is in your blood.
I was brought up in Eastern Long Island, which isn't like that like core thing, but like I'm super into it.
Yeah.
Like I love
It's fun to dip your
You
toe
wear
in.
it well, bro.
I
Those chains
love
peeking out. It's nice.
Soprano style.
Yeah.
Like I love the fucking like old man, tough guy.
She had a
tracksuit.
Furio ponytail. That could be your next move.
That would look real good, dude.
And
Alright,
that's
Brad.
why I'm down for cartoon or for Carbone when
Yeah,
Barbara's on vacation.
exactly.
Yeah.
Bradley, we got to thank you for giving us
Yeah.
a lot of your time today, and for coming on to the only podcast that matters. Before we get into the afters and we get into some real juicy, stupid questions and juicy stories.
Yeah. Some
You're doing
goss.
incredible. Your home here is incredible. Barber's incredible. Everything you're doing at work is incredible. But we'd love to see you do even better. So we'd love to offer up some constructive criticism. Take it or leave it. How you should take it. Most people do, and then they go on to even bigger and better things.
Sure.
I'll go first. So I don't know. Sneezes 4 times a year.
Sneezes 4 times a year.
I don't know what the timing is or who you got pegged for the next back page baddie, but let me assist on set at the next CoverGirl shoot so I can stand in the corner and not talk to her.
I gotta ask my boss.
Okay.
I mean, I used to.
That's certified Mr. Sneeze.
Yeah.
Yeah, we gotta ask the boss.
Yeah. Okay. Also, just off top, I'm thinking like you do the mag 4 times a year. Have you thought about doing it 12 times a year?
I mean, Complex was only 6, and that was a disaster.
You're telling me, bro. All right, here's my real piece of constructive criticism, Bradley. We talked about how every second of every day is more important to you than the average guy on TikTok who has figured out how to biohack 24 hours. So I understand that we're trying to be as efficient as possible. But if you found some time, like let's just say like a couple hours a week, if you want to become the chief operating officer of Throwing Fits, so James's life can be easier, and by extension, him not want to murder me 50% of the time, I feel like you could really take Throwing Fits to the next level, baby.
Head of Ops.
Yeah.
Just whatever you name the
op.
title.
Head
Head
op.
op, dude.
That
Chief
might be
Op.
my new title coming off of this one.
Head ops?
Head Op.
Head op. We can name the episode Head op if that's what you want to. Yeah.
But I mean, that's kind of where I found that like magic spot, right? It's like there's a lot of times there's 2, you know, and then 2 people fight. It's just what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys,
we can go through you as an intermediary.
mean-
Tell Lawrence to stop interrupting a guest.
Yeah. Talk to Bradley. Don't talk to me.
I see you guys out a lot, and you seem to be getting along, which I don't know how.
Perception is reality,
Well,
baby.
it's because we go out and we can talk to other people.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah, we're going to hang out with other people.
But that's kind of like where I found a sweet spot. It's like finding people that are really, really
third
good
wheel.
at stuff. Yeah.
the literal third wheel, baby.
There we go. We're like coming up with all kinds of new
We're
like
trying, bro.
nicknames.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. If you have a few hours and
Yeah,
want to get into, you got the legacy media with Sneeze and the magazine, and obviously the online stuff too. But if you want to get into the new media,
Yeah, dude. Podcasting is
Very
the
good.
future.
I mean, you guys are very good at it.
Thank you, dude.
Bradley, well, you're a very
at
good
it, too.
fucking guest.
Yeah.
And where can the kids follow you? Anything you want to plug before
Yeah.
we get out of here?
Instagram is kind of the social media that I use. It's just my name. It's Bradley Carbone. Sneeze Magazine is very important. Obviously born and raised. Andrew in Miami. Lots of New York projects coming now, which is like kind of like the next big thing.
Oh, sick.
So kind of like, again, like being confused with where menswear is headed, being confused with where like New York is headed, we're kind of moving into luxury. So we're going to help open, I hope I don't get in trouble for this, but we're working on Louisa Via Roma, which is coming to New York. And
Luis
there's a-
Villa Roma.
So I think that's also part of like New York. Like it's hard for like us normal guys or whoever to like, but like luxury's coming to New York hard.
Let's go, baby.
All
So
right.
like that's coming.
With you as our new COO, we're going to have money to burn. So let's get the fucking luxury in town, bro.
Yeah, but I think like that's also part of this cycle stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like, can we get like, you buy your like pinnacle pieces and then you fill it in.
Sure.
With like vintage all
Luxury
that.
done right.
With your Uniqlo cashmere.
Yeah.
I mean, every day. So yeah,
It's
I
every
guess
day, bro.
Instagram, Sneeze Mag, and then kind of all the projects.
Bradley, thank you again for your time, bro.
You're the fucking
This has
man,
been
bro.
Thank you
Long
guys.
an
time
honor and a
coming.
privilege and a long time coming.
Yeah. Chef, take us out.